dials, or if you're listening wherever you may be listening on the SEN or RSN apps. It's great to have your company on this Tuesday morning. There's plenty happening. It was a busy day yesterday. Unfortunately, we heard the news that Treasure the Moment had suffered a mild bout of colic, but she's okay, and I think she was back at the stables there of Matty Laurie yesterday. So Sam Fairgrave from Yulong will join me just after 8:30 with an update there with Treasure the Moment. But then that made Chris Waller rethink what he would do with Via Sistina. Now, she was meant to trial today, but he's just announced this morning that she's heading to Melbourne for the Mackay Diva. So she goes back to her original spring plans, Mackay Diva into the Turnbull, into the Cox Plate. James McDonald will ride her, and Aliana will be ridden now by Damien Lane. So that news breaking this morning. J-Mac's about to join us here to kick off Giddy Up. As I said, we'll have a chat to Sam Fairgrave with an update there on Treasure the Moment from Yulong. Shane Jackson will join us, the jumps jockey turned trainer that calls Warrnambool home, but he's just been given some stables at Flemington, which is a wonderful achievement for Shane Jackson. So looking forward to catching up with Shane. Adam Blenko, the ratings guru from racingandsports.com, will join us just after 9 o'clock. We'll have our midweek masterclass team all in a bid to try and find you a few winners right across the country tomorrow at those Metro Gallops meetings. Always great to catch up with Gay Waterhouse. She'll join us just before 10 o'clock. Tom Magny will join us, the boss of Coolmore Australia, to pay tribute to one of Coolmore's greatest ever stallions, especially here in Australia and Fastnet Rock. So he passed away recently over the last couple of days, so we'll catch up with Tom Magnier. Robert Watson, he won his slot anyway, won the richest harness racing race called the Eureka at Menangle on Saturday night. So we'll catch up with Robert Watson. Craig Smith from the Kalgoorlie Turf Club, they're holding a raffle. And if you win that raffle, you get a slot in their new slot race at Kalgoorlie worth just over $1 million. So we'll talk to Craig Smith about that. And some harness racing towards the back end as well with Facing the Breeze. Adam Hamilton and Anthony Butt will join me. And before that, we'll find you a few winners with Bag of Tips. Giddy Up brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. 6 minutes past 8. Let's catch up with James McDonald. He's heading off to the trials. He thought he'd be in the first trial to ride Via Sistina, but we can talk to him a little longer now because he hasn't got a ride in that first trial at Rose Hill. James, good morning to you.
Hi, Gareth. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you, mate. It's been an interesting 24 hours, I would imagine.
Yeah, a lot of yo-yoing anyway,
Yes.
but it's been it's good to see Via commit to the Mackay. Obviously, it's a tried and true formula for Chris and his good horses through to a Cox Plate. So just a traditional lead up and all the way through, and hopefully she gets to the big one and unscathed.
So when did you find out? Was it this morning? Did you gallop her this morning?
I probably found out reading Twitter like you did. Yeah. No, I seen her at track work this morning. She had a little spin around reverse. So obviously she was penciled in to head down probably today or tomorrow. I'm not too sure where.
Yep. So she goes to the Mackay Diva, and you're meant to be riding Aliana, and you're probably going to get a spin on your main rival there for the Cox Plate, but you might not get back on Aliana now.
You never say never.
Never say never after what happened yesterday, yes.
But no, we're happy Via's going because obviously she's the reigning horse of the year. Her record speaks for itself, and it's the right move for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Especially to get her down there earlier and give her a run in the Mackay into the Turnbull, and then Turnbull into the Cox Plate. It's just perfect lead up, but like last year.
Yeah, you're looking forward to another clash with Aliana.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, very good horse, and it's a very good field. It sounds like it's going to be pretty small, but it's always a good clash when you got Brightside there, and you got Antino and Tom Kitten, and strong field.
It's going to be a great race. Is it? Is it a tougher race to race in when you've got a small field and it'd be a real tactical battle? Because looking at, and I know that the noms are extended till I think 10 o'clock this morning, but at the moment, James, it looks like there's just no pace on paper.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe Mr. Brightside, but
yeah, I suppose that'll be interesting. But yeah, champions find a way, and that's what Via does. So we'll work it out as it unfolds.
Only if you're in Europe, you'd have a pacemaker for yourself, James. But in saying that, they've
Need one like Europe, don't we?
yeah, in saying that, they have stuffed up those jockeys in recent times. You've been watching them.
They can win too.
They can win when you just forget about them.
Yeah.
So she was beaten second up last spring in the 1,600 metres in the Maccabi Diva, but do you just bring that down to what happened there during the day because it rained during the day? It was a shocking day.
Yeah, it was freezing cold. It was
Yeah.
almost hailing before the race started, the Maccabi Diva, and the track was a little bit unsure on the footing, and she just didn't really stretch out at all. Well, obviously she didn't, but hopefully we don't get any rain this year, and there's a smooth transition between the two, and breezes home. So we'll see how we go.
So that feel that she gave you in the Winx, can you feel that there's any difference between, say, this preparation and what we saw in the autumn?
Well, for sure, she's a lot more confident this time around. She's in a good spot. Chris Harwood rode her in track work this morning, or galloped her in track work this morning, and he was pretty happy, I must say.
So history tells you it's difficult to do what she's doing at her age, but she's a 7-year-old, of course, in the Northern Hemisphere. But it sounds like she could be getting better, James, which is quite scary for her opposition.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's getting better, but she's definitely maintaining a very high standard, as everyone can see, and her record speaks for itself. I think there's a good number of ones next to her name, and she's the reigning horse of the year for a reason, and she's got a great winning record.
What other rides have you got on Saturday? Lasura, I think you've been booked for. She was so impressive the other day in Sydney first up, but that was on a heavy track.
Yeah, she's super. She's flying too. She looks great. She's a really good mare. Obviously, there's the four big guns, but she's not far behind them, like in terms of she's nipping at their heels. So, it's a nice race for her. Let's elope. I'm not sure where she'll head to in the carnival, but she's down there nice and early, so there's obviously plenty of riches for her around the mares. Yeah, 1,400 a mile, so she'll be poking on quietly there.
So you think she could get a strong mile?
I think she'll run a mile.
Yeah.
But I think 7 furlongs is going to probably be a best trip.
Beautiful. So the Empire Rose could be her end goal there on the opening day of that Flemington Carnival, which is a race that...
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yes. All right, then. I'll jot that one down in my black book, James. What else you got to look forward to? You're not riding Bywhack, are you? Down the street? Bywhack.
Well, I have been booked for. I'm not sure where he'll run, though. I think he'll probably stay in Sydney, to be fair. That's ditto with Tempted as well. I've been booked for her, but he might stay in Sydney. Airman, I've been booked for him, but he might stay in Sydney. So there's lots up in the air, but just bits and bobs really.
Lady Shenandoah.
The main ones there.
Yeah, all right then, mate. Well, what about Lady Shenandoah? How impressed were you with her effort there first up on Saturday?
Well, it was a good thing left, I suppose. Just not a lot of luck, but she went superb. Probably even better than expectations, I suppose, because we were very unsure about the 5 furlongs, but we thought she'd be fast enough. But I didn't think she would go to the line pretty much untouched and hard-held for 900 metres of that race anyway. She got out with 100 to go and she stretched really, really well. She's a big brute of a mare, and she's so confident. She's flying. So, looking forward to her and the Manicato into hopefully she gets a slot, because she'll be awfully hard to beat, even though with a big gun there.
Yeah, it looks like she will get a slot. She's $1.04 to get a slot for the Everest, my understanding is. Would you commit to her, or are you just going to wait and see what Jolly Star does? Yeah,
we'll just see. Obviously, Chris will make a decision and we'll work it out from there, but I'd like to stick with her, that's for sure.
Manicato under lights, grand final eve, J Mac, you'd be able to show off. Nice. There'll be a massive crowd there, and then obviously you'll have to get back to Sydney, but it's the best weekend in Melbourne that weekend.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? And there's heaps of good races that day too. I think there's Stud Stakes, and then there's a Mares Mile, so there's plenty of good options, and I think there's a few Sydney horses targeting those races. So
Might have to ring
Of
Tony
rugby.
Otterbray up and get the right on Pride of Giddy. She might be first up in the fee in J-Mac.
Well, I can ride a front runner now, G. So
Yes.
apparently that was the only thing I couldn't do. But,
Yes.
we've ticked that off, so I might get the call up. You
Yeah.
never know.
Changing of the guard. Did you surprise yourself with those tactics, James? I've never seen you do that before. What
I was
inspired
shaking
you?
under my boots at the 1200. I was thinking, what am I doing? But no, it was good. It was good fun, and good to get a win for the Williamses as well.
It was a great tactical ride because, and Mickey Gannon pointed this out on my show when we did the preview for Sydney, is that the way that you needed to beat Travolta was outstay him, and that's exactly what you did in the end.
Yeah, well, he was an up-and-comer, and he's
Yeah.
coming off 2 10-furlong runs, so he's got to run the mile and a half, and my fella was mile and a half back to, sticking to a mile and a half. He was fit and rearing to go, and he only just went down fighting at Flemington, so worked out well.
We had Zach Purton on yesterday. He's, he's playing it down with Carling Rising, J-Mac.
Is he? He must be nervous then.
He's just saying that, we've got to keep a lid on it. He was agreeing with Hawksy. Hawksy was saying, you know what, he's got to come here and do it, like he didn't beat anything. And times are one thing, but beating better horses is another. How do you assess all of that watching him? You've ridden at Chartier.
No, it was very good.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. He deserves his spot. He's he's a superstar. Absolute weapon. The way he bounces and puts himself into a spot and then just quickens off is been quite incredible. But it is a flat track and it is a fast track. Even though the rain was coming down, it would have still ridden like a good 4, good soft 5 here. So it was definitely not heavy conditions. I wouldn't have thought the way that track drained. So. But he couldn't have been any more impressive. But he might have one hand on the trophy, but he definitely doesn't have 2, old Zachy.
Yeah. So what about, who's he beating? Like you've ridden Lucky Swain. Can you just compare the horses he's beating for us? Because like the people that are keeping hope that we can get, like they can beat Carling Rising, or if they're backed against him, say that like these horses like a Lucky Swain S, who's been a good horse for a long time, wouldn't beat the horses here. Your thoughts on that, James?
I don't think he would. Probably in his prime, he probably would have, but he's coming off a pretty bad injury as well and a long layoff, and he actually takes a few runs to get going too. He's quite a robust sort of horse, but the third horse is a nice sort of bread and butter sort of horse, but probably nothing like Lady Shenandoah and Briassa and Jimmy Star, that's for sure, especially over 6 furlongs here at Randwick. It's going to be a little bit different, but he's proper also, Carling Rising, that's for sure.
Sound like you think he's very gettable, James.
Oh, without doubt.
Yes.
Without doubt.
Bring it on. And you know how big it's going to be in Hong Kong and how big this Everest is going to be because of this horse. It's, I can't wait for it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, same. Especially these sprinters. Like, there's some good ones here in Australia, and they're up and coming too. They're not just they're not been around the block. Like Jolly Star, she's only young. Lady Shenandoah, Jimmy Star, Briassa. Like they're good, proper horses, aren't they? And I've probably missed our Private Harry.
Yeah,
so, they're good horses.
I know you don't like asking the tough questions this time of the year, but do you think Woden's a Coolmore horse? Is he a Guinea's horse, or could he be an Everest horse? He goes around on Saturday, of course.
Yeah, I don't think he's an Everest horse. But he's definitely probably a cool. Oh, I actually don't really know. To be fair, he probably might run a mile, but 7 furlongs is definitely going to be right up his alley. Yep. But probably if I was going to have a stab in the dark, I would have thought he was a Coolmore horse for sure.
All right then. And then you don't get to ride Jolly Star on Saturday, but have you been on her back?
Yes, she is going really well. She's come back in great order from Brisbane. So, I think she'll win on Saturday, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. It looks a lovely race for her, but, be a good race.
And we asked the captain just before we did our Breeding Bloodstock and Banner podcast with Guy Mulcaster, and he said I had to ask you about Autumn Boy. Is he a Guinea's horse?
Yeah, he looks great.
Yeah.
He's another one that should be pretty hard to beat on Saturday, especially over the 7 furlongs. It looks a lovely race to kick him off in, and he's pretty much untapped, but he's getting sharper and sharper with every bit of work.
Beautiful. Have you got a Melbourne Cup, Caulfield Cup ride just yet?
No, well, Caulfield Cup lands on Everest Day, so
Oh, yes, no. Yeah, Melbourne
I'll be
Cup.
be in Sydney that day. But Melbourne Cup, no, still scanning, waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be far away. Well, you enjoy the trials today, J-Mac. You got a couple of nice rides, but nothing really of any note, I don't think.
Not
No
now.
superstars.
No.
Let us know how Briasa goes. Tyler Schiller. Wayne says he's just
Oh,
flying this horse. Bring it on.
is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a good race at Everest, that's for sure.
Mahuna goes around the Golden Slipper winner as well on that trial. I think so. Yep, that's the first trial set down for 8:30. And I've told you this, I think. Giddy Up's having a luncheon on Thursday, the Giddy Up Cox Plate luncheon at the Ascot Vale Hotel, and you've been booked in. So looking forward to having a chat to you there, J-Mac.
Top man. Tune into the first trial.
Yeah, the first trial we'll be tuning in. Don't worry about that. Hey, good to see you back in Melbourne via Sistina. It is going to be some race, that Mackay Diva. So welcome back to Flemington on Saturday, James.
Look forward to it. Cheers, guys.
See you, mate. There's James McDonald. 20 minutes past 8. We'll take a break. We'll come back and have a chat to Sam Fairgrey, the Chief Operating Officer at Yulong, to get an update on their superstar mare, Treasure the Moment.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, all thanks to Bet365. Great to have your company wherever you may be listening on your local RSN dial or the SEN track dial or the apps, the RSN app or the SEN app as well. And you can watch us. We're streaming live on our SEN app, our Facebook page, and also, of course, on our YouTube channel. And that's all thanks to Bet365. Time to catch up with Sam Fairgray. He is the COO of Yulong, and he's going to give us an update on Treasure of the Moment, who yesterday was scratched from the Mackay Diva after having a minor bout of colic. And Sam's with us now. Good morning, Sam. How is the start?
Morning, Gareth. She's good. She's back home at Matt's and she's all happy. She was fine through the night and is bright this morning and eating her feed. So all signs are positive.
That is terrific news. So first of all, she's okay. I guess the next question everybody wants to know is, what do you do with her now? Where do we get to see her next?
I think Matt is sort of thinking that maybe the Fian, which I think is about the 26th of September. So, yep. That's all going well. Obviously, she'll just have an easy few days, and then Matt will sort of start to step her back up again. But that's where we're thinking at this stage. And then, through the Fian, then we sort of decide whether she might go to something like the Might and Power. And then still with the Cox Plate and on the plan. But obviously we'll let her tell us if for any reason we don't think that she's ready for those races, then we'll just give her more time because there's plenty of options for her. Yeah,
so there is plenty of options, but I think that the great news for everybody is that we're all waiting for that Cox Plate to be run because you've got all the superstars coming together, and we thought that moment might not happen there after what we heard yesterday, but it sounds like there is a strong possibility now that it might happen again, which is great.
Yeah, no, it's great. It was only a very light bout of colic, so it was good that she came through the day yesterday. She was bright. She's back to herself this morning and into her feed. So the signs are all very positive. So it'd be great if she can get back to the Cox Plate, as you say, to match up with the best ones.
And talking to horse people as well, they say it's the next week or so that's important after, even if it's a minor bout of colic, just to make sure that they completely get through it.
Yeah, definitely. It's you just want to make sure their intestines are still working and moving correctly, and obviously yesterday she missed a day of feed, which is important for a racehorse to be able to maintain their energy levels and that when they're in a full racing prep. So that's the key in the next few days is that she's back on the feed and continues to have no issues, and then Matt can start to step up her workload again to get her back in shape for race day. And just explain to the people out there, so what is colic and how do the horses get colic? So colic can have many forms. It can be a low grade pain to similarly just a human. You might get a bit of a bellyache sort of thing to where it can be quite severe, where the intestines can even get a twist in them sometimes because of the size of the horse and the length of the intestine. Sometimes it can get a twist. Sometimes it can get lodged somewhere within the stomach that it sort of gets stuck there and it needs a bit of time to move. Sometimes they'll need to have surgery to have that gut actually move back into place so that it's moving again. So. But it's a very broad word, colic. It can be from very mild to very severe. But in her case, it was very mild, which was great. It was just probably more just a bit of gas that she had.
Well, there's going to be some meeting there on grand final eve now. Moonee Valley, it was rocking last year. I remember when we had Pride of Jenny, who made a surprise visit to Moonee Valley. I think they changed their plans late as well. And she took on Mr. Brightside, and Antino was there. We didn't know Antino was going to be as good as he was. So he turned up for the Fian. And now with the Manikato, with Lady Shenandoah going there, and now your horse going there, Treasure of the Moment, it is going to be one of the best ever nights I reckon Moonee Valley's ever seen.
It'd be
Which is
fantastic.
great for the game.
Obviously. It'll
Yeah.
definitely be fantastic. One of the last meetings that they'll have on the current Moonee Valley track. So it'll be, I'm sure it'll be great, and it'll be great to get a big crowd there and see the great horses racing.
And the other big news this morning, Chris Waller announced, and we just had a chat to J-Mac, that Via Sistina is heading to Melbourne for the Mackay Diva, which is great.
Yeah, fantastic. Chris said she worked very well this morning. He's very happy with her fitness levels. So she'll pop on a truck tomorrow evening and head down to Carbine Lodge. And, all systems go for Saturday.
Yeah. How are you going with all this, mate? Obviously, you've been with Yulong for a long time, but it's amazing, really, the team that Mr. Zhang and the Yulong team have been able to establish here at the moment. You've got every good horse in the country, basically.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, Mr. Zhang's invested a lot in the industry, and it's great for him to be getting the, rewards. But it's great that they're homebreds, they're horses that we've brought as yearlings, they're horses that we brought as older horses, that have all sort of come together and giving Mr. Zhang the results. So, it's fantastic to have the good mares that will eventually retire to start, and it's exciting to have the young colts that are showing so much promise that hopefully they can end up in the serving barn for us.
Who's the one horse that Mr. Zhang and yourself and the team there are looking forward to most outside of the obvious, in a way?
Probably. Obviously, treasure of the moment is Mr. Zhang's. She's very close to Mr. Zhang, but we've got a big crop of 2-year-olds coming through. So a lot of them are just now starting to get into their prep, where they're starting to go a bit quicker and so on. But obviously, Private Harry, who we bought into, he looks very exciting. His trials have been great. Heading to the Everest against Hong Kong Star. It's the season's going to have some great theatre, because I think we've got fantastic horses in top form, and we're going to see some spectacular racing, because when they all meet in their grand finals, we're going to see who can stand up and be the victor on the day. And the other side of the business is the breeding side, which you play a major part in. How's the breeding season started, and you're happy with your stallions, and have they been popular this season? Yeah, the season started really well. Yeah. So we've got 150 foals on the ground so far, and there's been some of our really nice mares in her time. Had a really nice Pierata colt. Imperatriz had a Pierata filly just on Friday night. Okay. So, it's all going well. The stallions are busy in the serving barn. Growing Empire and First Settler, they've settled into their new role as stallions and working well in the breeding shed. So, it's all systems go. It's a beautiful morning here on the farm today, and it's a great place to be when you see the young foals running around and all the horses enjoying the sunshine. And how is Imperatrice? She's good. So she's a good mum, and she'll probably go to Alabama Express this year. So so she's on the next journey of her life of a broodmare. So she hasn't really mucked around. That's her first foal, and she's had it nice and early as well. Is it early in September? Yes. So so it's good. So she'll. With broodmares, they can sort of be bred after about a month of foaling sort of thing. So we'll see that she's come through her foaling well, and all is good with her, and then look to get her bred again sort of early in October. Yeah, well, that is exciting, mate. It must be. There's always something happening at Yulong these days, especially when you have a look at your broodmare line and the superstars that would be at that farm, and then all of your stars on the track. Hey, we appreciate that update, Sam. Can't wait for Saturday to see Via Sistina back at the races, and really looking forward now to hopefully that she comes through the next week and we see Treasure of the Moment. Under lights, the Valley will be rocking. So, bring that on. Absolutely. Thanks, Gareth. Good on you, Sam. Sam Fairgrave there from Yulong. We'll take the news, then we'll come back. Shane Jackson's not far away. I'll get through
I'll get to a few of your text messages as well, 0499 736 736. But Shane Jackson will join us after it was announced yesterday that he'll be heading to Flemington to set up some stables there, along with his base at Warrnambool.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. A deal has been reached in the long-running Murdoch family succession, with Lachlan Murdoch to cement his control over the family's media empire. Erin Patterson has spent her first night behind bars since being handed a life sentence for the murders of 3 family members. The value of Australian agricultural exports has surged to over $77 billion in the past financial year, on the back of the surge in red meat exports. And Matilda's player, Mary Fowler, will be swapping the field for the catwalk to model at the Paris Fashion Week. Up next, sen.com.au sport. Magpie Bobby Hill has been working with Eddie Betts in the hopes for a preliminary final recall. The former Carlton and Adelaide champion has been working with the Norm Smith medalist, who, due to personal reasons, has played just 1 game in 10 weeks. And after the collapse of A-League club Western United, its players are now free to find new clubs after their contracts were terminated.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Gareth Hall with you. So that's some great news with Treasure the Moment. Sam Fairgrave telling us that looks like she'll head to the Fiend Stakes if everything goes well, and then she'll go to a Might and Power into a Cox Plate. And Via Sistina, she'll go back to what she was originally going to do anyway at the start of the spring. Mackay Diva, the Turnbull, into the Cox Plate. And I recorded an interview with Gay Waterhouse just before, and she just told me that Sir Delius will be going to, he's about to leave for Melbourne. He might be in Melbourne. He'll go to a Turnbull Stakes, into a Cox Plate, and then to the Melbourne Cup. And Vauban will have one more run in Sydney, in the Kingston Town, before heading to the Caulfield Cup, according to Gay. So it's going to be some Turnbull Stakes. It's going to be a beauty there. Moving day, they call that day. And it's going to be one of the better Turnbull Stakes. And it's great to see. Hopefully Treasure the Moment gets through the next week or so, and we get to see her in action in the Fiend Stakes. Lady Shenandoah's definitely going there. James McDonald's been booked to ride her on that Friday night. So that will be one hell of a meeting there on Grand Final Eve. They might sell the joint out there with all of those superstars heading to Moonee Valley for that meeting. Shane Jackson's not far away. He's going to join us next here on Giddy Up.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Gareth Hall with you. It's 8:44. News that broke yesterday as well was that Shane Jackson will be heading to Flemington to set up some stables. He'll keep his base at Warrnambool, but he's heading to headquarters in Victoria to train at that famous precinct. And Shane Jackson joins us now. Good morning, Shane. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Yeah, it's a privilege and an honour to have been accepted to get a few boxes in such a historic place, I suppose, and such a great facility.
So how many horses do you want to have at Flemington?
I've been approved for 18 boxes.
Yeah.
So as you know, things aren't cheap, so I'd be hopeful to fill them as sooner, as quickly as I can. And yeah, really excited about it. You know, it's going to be a lot more on our plate, obviously, but I've never been afraid of a challenge. And I think if we want to get to the next step, it's something we have to do. Just add another string to our bow.
Have you exceeded your expectations yourself with how quickly you've been able to grow your training business?
Without a doubt. But I've always been a bit bullheaded, and when I want to make something work, we generally make it work. And we have a great team around us. But yeah, for sure, like we started 12 months ago. We started on our own here with 3 horses to our name. So 12 months on, we've 35 odd in work here in Warrnambool, and in the 12 months, I think we trained maybe 30 winners and 6 Metro winners. So I think we've done all right. Our strike rate sort of speaks for itself. So but saying that, Spring Carnival this year, I don't have anything that's going to be good enough to be going there. Yeah. We'll be poking around the edges trying to get winners in smaller meetings and secondary meetings, but I think if we can get Flemington up and going and promote ourselves a bit more, get a few nicer types of young horses, hopefully this time next year we'll be talking about a few spring candidates. So
how did this opportunity come about?
It was sort of in my head as regards, we do struggle in Warrnambool, especially this time of the year, the winter months, getting much access to grass. We had a lot of trial meetings called off. Also with the drought, so at one stage the tracks were too dry, and then all of a sudden they got too wet. So the older horses and the horses that are raced and know what they're doing, they'd always be in Warrnambool, I reckon. You know, our beaches are great. I have a Gallop beach not too far away as well, and probably the best part about my facility in Warrnambool is the facility itself. You know, I've the Clive Smith's barn that Darren Weir built, and it's like the Ritz compared to most, you know, with gas heated tie-ups and 40 boxes that are the size of day yard. So we have a great facility here, but I just think to get access to more regular jump outs, as I said, grass gallops, and then also I can start looking at going to race meetings down the other side of town, whereas at the minute I probably don't venture down past sort of Pakenham, and even Pakenham night meetings I would avoid just purely because it's too hard on staff and horses, and it would allow us to go to those further away tracks and either have the horses at Flemington or stop there on the way home, leave them there overnight, that staff could have, you know, the next morning off. You know, I just think it'll be a lot easier on horses, and gives us a lot more access to both training tracks and race tracks that we haven't been going to.
And you make that point as well with the travel. I guess you can bring those horses down a day before from Warrnambool and base them at Flemington. So, and it's not an easy day, is it really, to travel 4 hours up and back?
It's not. And then you get to the night meetings as well, you know, the Mooney Valley night meetings. You know, it's a recipe for disaster, really, because you're expecting staff to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, work their morning, then come to the races with you, and then, you know, drive home. So sooner or later somebody's going to fall asleep on the way home. I think it will make it a lot easier, on both horse and staff. You can maybe stay in town that night and come back the next day when you're after getting a bit of a rest, and it's easier on the horse, and everyone will recover better. And like that, if there happen to be a couple of meetings coming up that side of town, the horses can stay there, and you can probably back them up a bit quicker when they don't have that 4 hour travel as well.
And you've been able to get great opportunities. I know that you've had horses with some of our biggest owners. You've had horses with Tony Otterbray. And I've seen the colours of Aussie Kerr representing your stable with a horse like Loft. So by telling everyone that you're coming to Flemington, hopefully you can get the better class of horse as well, as you pointed out just before.
And like that, like you just said, I've support from some fabulous owners. Jerry Ryan was probably my first. He had my first horse here with Mystery Island, and he's been a great sounding board as well. I often ask him for advice as well as having a few horses in training for him, and he was a huge push for Flemington. He said it had to be done if I wanted to get to the next level. So, dealing with somebody like that who's so successful in his own right in all sorts of business and sport, that gave me a bit more confidence to push it out. But yeah, like you said, support of Jerry Ryan, Aussie Care, ATB, Jeff Evans, I'll obviously miss a few, with some fabulous owners. David Moody has just come on board with a couple. So yeah, if I can do the right thing by them, and surely we'll start getting a better quality of youngster coming through.
And what kind of horse are you looking for? You're trying to buy an international horse, maybe for one of our cups. You're going down the path of yearlings. So, what are you looking for, Shane?
Well, I avoided the sales last year purely because I didn't have a lot of money behind me to go buying things on spec, and yearlings were just going to take. At that stage, at sales time, we probably had about 15 to 20 in work, and I thought it was more important me staying at home, training the horses and trying to train a few winners and get my name out there than walking around at the sales for 2 weeks and buying a couple of horses that I either couldn't afford or buying cheapies that probably weren't going to be much good. So we've lately, a couple of months ago, we purchased a horse from New Zealand. He actually runs today. Nice little horse, and he was probably the most expensive one we had bought. He was 130, but like that, he's getting to the races within a couple of months, and we just purchased one the other day. Same sort of story, has won its maiden. So that's obviously, I'll have to get to the sales next year and start the younger stock coming through. But I am very lucky. A few of those owners I mentioned before have sent me some yearlings and 2-year-olds that we have in the paddock ready to be broken in as well. So we do have a few youngsters coming through. But look, we want a mix of everything and just showcase the fact that we're getting results, whether they be sprinters or stayers or jumpers or synthetic horses. I think we've showed that we can train most of them, and I think getting down to Flemington too, it'll probably, I would imagine I'll learn an awful lot, watching what some of the trainers down there, how they go about things. I was to have a look at the training tracks. The Lindsay Park boys were good enough. I went in there one morning and I rolled out 6 or 8 lots, and they sort of had one on all the tracks for me, so I could get a feel for them. And it was interesting to see the way they work their horses there. And I'm looking forward to getting down there and seeing your Nick Grinds and your Hawkses and Gay Waterhouse and how they all differ and work their horses.
I've got I've got about 30 seconds or 20 seconds. Do you have a winner for us today at Warrnambool?
I think, the one I think will handle the wet ground, the most one I'd be sure of would be Bergeson. He's
beautiful.
It's a competitive race. He's probably a little under the odds, but he should get through the wet ground. Wolf 21's a chance if he handles the wet, but he'll have plenty of improvement. Let's Trot is flying, but also a question mark on the wet track. But when the races are here at home, I don't think I'm doing any harm by sending them around, and we'll find out one way or the other.
Go and get him today, mate. Well done with getting boxes at Flemington. You're a man on the rise at the moment, mate. You should be proud, and we wish you the best of luck in your next chapter.
No, thank you very much, and thanks for having me on.
He's a good man, Shane Jackson, and he's kicking plenty of goals. Time for a break.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. It's quickly approaching 9 o'clock. We've got a busy middle hour coming your way. Adam Blenko from racingandsports.com, their ratings man, will join us to discuss what happened on the weekend and also previewing what's coming up this week. Gai Waterhouse will join me around 9:30, and then the midweek masterclass team as we look ahead to Wednesday racing across the nation at those Metro Gallops tracks. If you just joined us this morning, we caught up with James McDonald. He saw Via Sistina, didn't work her this morning, but he says that she's ready to go for the Mackay Diva, so she heads to Melbourne for the Mackay Diva. Aliana will be ridden by Damien Lane. And Sam Fairgrave said that it's good news this morning with Treasure the Moment. Of course, Sam Fairgrave, the COO of Yulong. She'll work this week and then hopefully she'll head to a Fian Stakes, into a Might and Power, into a Cox Plate. So the Cox Plate dream is still well and truly alive, which is great news. We'll take a break. Adam Blenko to join us next. We'll also go through a few of the trials there at Rose Hill this morning, including the first one with Briasa winning.
Powered by Signet. Good morning. I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. In breaking news, major bank ANZ has announced about 3,500 jobs will go by next September. The bank has revealed a broader restructure which includes reducing engagements with consultants and other third parties. It comes amid an ongoing review of the bank's operations. South Australia's algal bloom is back in the spotlight with public hearings for the parliamentary inquiry beginning today. The hearings will be held over the next few days at a number of coastal areas hardest hit. In Jerusalem, 6 people have been killed after 2 gunmen opened fire in an attack at a bus stop during the busy morning peak. It's believed the gunmen, who were shot dead by an off-duty soldier, were Palestinian. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack. It comes as Israel's foreign minister says it's accepted the US proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza.
2 things must happen. 1, the return of our hostages. Second thing, Hamas must lay down its arms.
Jury selection is happening today for the man accused of attempting to assassinate Donald Trump while he was playing golf last year. Ryan Routh is representing himself. The French government has collapsed, with MPs voting to oust the Prime Minister amid France's battle to contain the country's crippling debt. And Prince Harry is back in England, attending charity events and laying flowers on the 3rd anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's death. Up next, sen.com.au sport. Thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. Crows forward Joshua Shelley will try to prove he's overcome a knee injury which has seen him miss the past few months ahead of Friday's semi-final against the Hawks. Last touch out of bounds looks set to be introduced in the AFL next season, and the final game of NFL's Week 1 kicks off soon with Chicago up against the Vikings.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. It's right on 4 minutes past 9. Gareth Hall with you. Great to have your company wherever you may be listening on your local SEN track dial or RSN dial or on the apps, the RSN and SEN apps. And you can watch it on the SEN app as well. Live, we're streaming live each and every day on our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel. So there's plenty of options where you can take in Giddy Up these days. And on Thursday and Fridays, we're live on racing.com from 8 o'clock. There was a big trial that just happened in Sydney. I don't know if we've got that yet. It was Briasa that stepped out for Team Hawks, and boy, he was impressive today.
In the opening trial, it's Briasa the leader. It's in front by 2 or 3 on Enriched, Mahuna the middle. 2 lengths away to More Felons from Unspoken, then Enriched, and the last one is Firestorm. He must be 8 off the leader as they swing for home, and that leader is Briasa. Briasa in front, Enriched is underneath it, and third, the outside making some ground, Mahuna. They've gapped the others, headed by Light Infantry Man. At the 200 now, it's Briasa clear from Mahuna on the outside, then Enriched, and Briasa from the outside gate is going to lead all the way. Briasa is first, ready and primed for a first up performance.
Baldone Briasa says, Kaying Rising went into quarantine in Hong Kong. I reckon if he was watching Briasa, look out, he'd be scared, wouldn't he? As I say hello to you, Adam Blenko. This is tongue in cheek. Adam Blenko from racingandsports.com. Good morning, mate.
Yeah, I don't think his knees would have been knocking. Although I did hear in the call there that Briasa's strode on forward and offset the wide draw in the trial there. He can do it. He can. Do it. Another string to his bow. So maybe Ka Ying will raise an eyebrow at that.
It was interesting catching up with James McDonald this morning. He was impressed with Kaying Rising, but he did point out that it is a different ball game when he gets here to Randwick. He'll have to go up the rise there at that Randwick straight. It's a very fast track, Sha Tin, and it's flat and fast, and although he's running time, James doesn't believe that he's beating much. So, you know what? It gives everyone hope. It gives everyone hope, Adam.
I think James knows more than he might be. He might be. Well, he's not on Kaying Rising, so
no,
he needs the hope. But I think deep down, he probably knows that it's a. He's right to point out that he's got to pick that form up and transfer it to Randwick. I don't think it'll be the once stiff, not so stiff Randwick rise that catches him out. I don't think Randwick is also pretty flat. He's right to say that Sha Tin is a speed track. It absolutely is, and I don't think he'll be. I don't think he'll be nudging 107 come the Everest. He's probably going to have to run harder for another second. I really don't think it's going to be talent that gets Kaying Rising beaten. It's going to be the great vagaries of racing that probably bring him undone if he's to be undone.
But he makes an interesting point because you're watching Sha Tin once again and they run time. They run time all the time at Sha Tin. But you're watching Sha Tin on Sunday and I was watching it from afar. It was a Father's Day lunch I was at, and you could see the rain pouring down, and you were watching it on social media as well. And then you look at the time and you think, well, it can't be that rain affected. So it's a wonderful track there at Sha Tin. But from a ratings perspective, I'm fascinated to get your thoughts here, because what time of a 107 and change? What would that be if it was how would you compare that to a Randwick time, if you know what I mean?
Yep. No, I know what you mean. It is I think it's one of my favourite things to do is to make fun of the Longines World Rankings.
Yes.
And I think one of the mistakes they make is that and we all make this mistake to some degree, but it's just a good idea to be aware of what your models are doing, is that the times and even the distribution of times at Sha Tin and in Hong Kong are different. They're less spread. If you look at the way times are run and the horses that run them at Sha Tin, there's less of a spread than there is at Randwick, and then you get to the UK and there's far more of a spread. So it is harder to stand out, if that makes sense. Yeah. The threshold at the bottom is higher.
Yeah.
So what happens is the margins are elongated at places like, say you get to Royal Ascot, you get big high ratings on horses at Royal Ascot because they hit that stiff finish and the margins get strung out.
Yes.
And good models can allow for this at least somewhat, but a lot of models are a little bit clunky and probably aren't even aware of what it is that they're trying to measure. And we try and move one from the other and try and measure them the same way. But a length isn't a length, I suppose, is the quick and easy way to sum this up. And so what kayak rising is doing to stand out amongst such tightly packed fast times in Hong Kong is far more impressive than standing out a little bit in the UK or a little bit at Randwick. So we can look at the distributions of those times and make some allowance for that. You're right that there's always going to be some margin of error in doing that. But the other thing about Hong Kong is we see so many horses from all over the world. Well, their entire horse population is from all over the world, but even the international meetings, we see so many horses and form lines move through there. So we get you can use basic statistical inference to sort of figure that one out to a pretty good degree as well. So we have a pretty good idea of how these things chop and change, and either, you probably don't need any of this statistical modelling to kind of clue on and figure out that this is a worldie kayak rising, and if he fronts up here and runs to that level, well, we'll need to find another black caviar, and we'll need to find it fast.
It's the best part about all of this is that the Australian connections and some Australian racing fans, and I've talked to some very well established, I won't mention names, but successful racing people saying that they think he's not over the line. They wouldn't take $1.80 with kayak rising. They say it'll be a completely different ball game when he arrives here. So that's what makes this game so great for mine. If you just go off what you're seeing in Hong Kong and looking at the clock and how much he's been belting up on his opposition, then you think, well, how are they going to beat him? But
it's great that like Nathan Doyle after Private Harry with his Kaiying Hu and things. I mean, it's a little bit, as a form nerd, you sit there and go, well, gee, mate, I think, this is a real worldie. But at the same time, it's fantastic that he does that, as you say, and it's fantastic that there is that bullish, we're going to go and get him, and who does this guy think he is? I mean, that's sport, isn't it? So, if he comes down here and gets dusted, he'll unfairly be then dismissed as having been overhyped the entire time. That's probably, and I'd go as far as saying absolutely not true, regardless of what happens down here. It does change what he's done over there, but it will create that. He does risk it, in a sense, coming down here. And as you say, there's all the vagaries that there is in travelling a horse overseas. I know that's not an easy task. We're getting better at it, but not an easy task. So, he's risking plenty, but that's when sport's at its absolute best, isn't it, Gareth?
It is, and I can't wait for it. And I love the Australians talking up their chances and say, bring it on. And the only person who's talking down his chances a little bit is our mate Zach, saying, there's a lot of variables. You've got to go to quarantine, and then if the crowd start yelling out, he's never used to that, and all these different other variables that you've got to keep a close eye on. So the intrigue is going to be something else.
So Zach downplaying it is to me, that's probably just nerves that he's. I don't think in his mind he's really down. I think he thinks he's going to absolutely kill them, but he's terrified of how confident he probably is deep down, would be my absolute guess.
Yeah, and the banter between, say, J-Mac and Zach and a few of the other connections is going to be a lot of fun as we get set for the Everest, because we want a little bit more like the Aidan O'Brien type of Johnny Godston war at the moment.
That might be the most polite war that's ever been waged.
That was the best clip anyone's that's a clip and a half that Aidan gave John Godston, calling him a sore loser, basically, the great man. And I've never really seen Aidan talk like that.
No, you're right. By his standards, that is a savage. That's almost WWE stuff from Aidan.
That's like when you used to get told off by your footy coach and you'd yell at you, and if he yelled at you, you wouldn't think much of it. But it was like the times where you used to get in trouble by your parents or people that you cared about, they just get disappointed in you. And that's like, John Godston's watching this, he's just like, wow, that's the best clip I've ever got, basically. So I don't think Aidan was too...
him right for not coming across.
Yeah, I don't think Aidan was too happy with the way John said, well, we're not going to meet you at Leopardstown because we can't beat you because you'll gang up on me and it's not a fair contest. I don't think Aidan liked those comments very much.
I don't think he liked that at all, and that's, as I said, it might be the most polite war that's ever been waged, but it's still a lot of fun from the sidelines. It is a shame that he's not going over there for the champion this weekend in Ireland.
Budsman we're talking about, yes.
On Budsman, not going across for round 3 with Delacroix, but I think having a look at the entries there, it might actually, after all that, I think Aidan might even be running Delacroix 1 out. So it might not have been a war against a gang after all. It might have been a fair fight. Aiden might have been right. Team Aiden on this one.
On Budsman, if he turned up, he definitely would have had more than, like, Delacoy would have had a few friends, I would have imagined. But anyway.
That might be true.
Yeah.
That might be true. He might have sent a few 100-to-1 shots around just to rough things up.
So we'll get back on track. So Kaying Rising, who's his biggest danger in Australia, from Australia?
He's at Angel Capital now. Maybe that's the take your pick. They've already taken their pick, haven't they?
Private Harry.
They've chosen Private Harry, the other 4-year-old. We haven't seen him back yet, so his potential still lies there latent, I suppose. Whereas Angel Capital's come back and run time on the weekend. So Racing and Sports ratings now have Angel Capital 120, Private Harry 119. So that's have they zigged where they should have zagged? Maybe. But Angel Capital get a little bit further. I think 1200 is probably.
Sir Rupert Clark. Sir Rupert Clark.
Yeah.
For him. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds bang on.
Yep. So he'll go to Sir
Capital.
Rupert Clark.
To answer your question, who is the biggest danger from here? I'm not sure. I suppose Letty Shenandoah walked away from the weekend with her sprinting reputation enhanced a little bit, but ratings-wise, she's still got to come up to the Briartha, Jimmy, War Machine level, and that's sort of, they're all about this. They're all in a big clump. Jolie Star's in there as well. They're in a clump that's very good but not great, I suppose, is the answer to that. So, but all of those horses that I've just rattled off there, maybe with the exception of Jolie Star, would still consider themselves potential improvers. They're not tired journeymen by any stretch. So they're at a high level, but the leap that they would have to make, even to Kaying, if he was at the weekend's level, which is just a little bit off his absolute top, where I assume they plan on him being at Randwick. If he runs to that level, they'll still have to come up a meaningful chunk to rough him up.
Would you give Barrack Hills slot in the Everest?
For the after party, yeah, absolutely. He's an incredible story. He's his second campaign as a 7-year-old. As fragile as he is talented, but that was obviously a messy race. It wasn't a vintage Group 1 figure that it was run and won in, and there's a lot of hard luck stories in behind, but it's still a high level of form. And as I said, the winner there, Barrackeel, has done a fantastic job given what he's clearly been through. I'm not actually fully versed on the entire backstory of his injuries and what he's overcome to.
Everything, basically. Suspensions, tendons, the lot.
He's done the work. So, he's a pretty good Australian racing story, I would say. And that's being unfair to the level of form, as I said, which is really high. But I suppose you get a little bit, when you're talking about him in context of sort of a Kaying Rising and sort of the greats of sprinting, if you like. And I think Kaying Rising, he's in that conversation now where we talk about him alongside champions. Barrackeel's in that sort of story where we talk about horses who knocked off a Group 1 and weren't they good horses.
Yeah. It's going to be one hell of a build up towards that Everest. 17 minutes past 9. Don't go anywhere. I'll take a quick break and we'll come back and ask you about who you're tipping in the Maccabi Diva. Via Sistina. It was announced today that she'll take on Aliana. Tom Kitten, Mr. Brightside, and Tino on Saturday. It's going to be a great race there at Flemington. And we'll also get your thoughts on a few handy enough cup trials, I thought, there on the weekend, especially at Randwick.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up Racing and Sports.com's very own Adam Blanco joining us this Tuesday morning. So, Adam, can't wait for the Maccabi Diva on Saturday. Via Sistina's arriving there alongside Aliana. We've got Mr. Brightside and Tino will be there. Tom Kitten makes his long-awaited return if he goes into the gates or behaves in the gates. So I think it'll be a little bit different to the Memsy. I don't think Pinstripe will have a Pinstripe that will take off like he did there. So tactically it'll be a fascinating battle, I reckon, at headquarters on Saturday.
Yeah, I think you're right. They'll be more conservative with Pinstripes, you would think. So pace potentially very different than it was in the Memsy. Is what's the Yulong Anisette in there to? Are we seeing a little bit of Euro team tactics here? Is Anisette going to be the one to make sure the pace is at least nice and even and roll forward and give Via the test that she wants? I suppose the big angle and probably the talking points going into the race will be the second up records of the different horses. Mr. Brightside is fantastic, but those horses behind Treasure at the moment, they were left a long way behind Treasure at the moment in the Memsy. So there's some horses there that walked away a little bit dusted up, I think. Horses like Another Wheel was deplorable there, really. Tom Kitten didn't even get out of the gates. Mr. Bright and Tino was made his move, but it whimpered out pretty quickly. And Mr. Brightside was classic Mr. Brightside. He didn't give it up, did he? And he was brave, but he didn't. I wouldn't say overachieve. That's for sure. But he's a much better horse second up. Via Sistina is. Well, I remember in the autumn when she got to the mile second up, and the reasonable point to make as well is that she'd had 2 mile runs in the past, and she'd been making 6 and 7 lengths in both of them, and one of them was in this race, and another one was on the July course at Newmarket when she was 5-4 into evens, and some very shrewd punters were all over her, and she was disappointing. So she righted that wrong, if you like, but without really improving to do so. Aliana, I know, was sort of not flat, but her rating didn't spike second up at a mile last time, but that's not enough to say that it won't this time, and she obviously overachieved first up. So I think it'll be very much a conversation dominated by form patterns and guessing form patterns. Yeah, because it'll be one with a rating, I think, separate from what any of these did first up.
All right, then. We've got about 4 minutes. I'll run through these next questions. I'll take your pick here. Vauban Serdilius.
Oh, that's Serdilius, isn't it? I mean, Vauban had his spins. He has the engine. He doesn't have the brain for it, although he did everything right there on the weekend, including looking after his mate Serdilius there.
Yes.
Serdilius is an absolute pickle, which I love about him.
Yeah.
And that all probably unfolded too quickly for him, and he was a bit all over the shop, Serdilius, but he's still coming at the finish there over a mile. So he's...
Could you back him in a Cox Plate?
Yeah, I could. I don't think he'd have to do something different and distinct. I'm more interested in him as a Melbourne Cup chance, and I'm sure the Cox Plate is where they're headed, but I hope that they are still leaving the Caulfield Cup there.
Nice. Turnbull Stakes into the Gay. I just recorded an interview with Gay. She's going Turnbull, Cox Plate, Melbourne Cup. Yeah,
that's the path that she would take, and that was sort of, she's taken it, Lloyd's taken it. I'm sure they've had a martini together and discussed that path in the past. So I know that's probably the path they're on. I hope they still just keep the entry in there and just consider it as you roll along there for him. But I suppose the real take your pick here is, would you take Serdilius or any of the imports? Is he the right one right now? He's number 1 seed for the Cup?
I think so. Right now he is. Yeah. He just fits all of that profile that he's arrived here. He's got a turn of foot. He's brilliant. Like, he's a horse that could be competitive in a Cox Plate, and those weight for age form lines, if he does perform like we expect him to do in a Cox Plate, then he's going to be hard to beat in a Melbourne Cup, isn't he?
Big Fioronte vibes, I suppose.
Correct. Yeah. What about Rosberg? What'd you make of his performance first up?
I think if you wanted to be a real stickler about it, you'd look at the time and you'd look at the other 1,200-metre races on the card and you'd be a little bit soft on him. But that would be to ignore the fact that he was on debut. So if you put it in a different context, he didn't get out till late, and that's your first ever spin around the races. If you do that at your first go, you're very, very good, would be my take for Rosberg, and I think he's better off. You're better off comparing what he did there with other horses on debut in maidens and such, and thinking about what sort of performance that is relative to them, rather than relative to, say, Angel Capital or something, which is setting the bar mighty high. So no, he ran I think 103, and to do that on debut, if you're clearing triple figures on debut on our scale, you have a very, very good chance of developing into a group horse. So I mean, that's probably stating the obvious when you've won a listed race on debut, isn't it?
Yep.
But they can be very excited. Racing at its best again there with Angel Capital, obviously.
Would you take the $4? The question I've got to go in about a minute. Would you take the $4 Angel Capital for the Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes?
When they're shoving him into the gates, I will. He won't run again until the Rupert Clarke. Would that be true? Well, I can rest on my laurels. But for mine, I suppose he and Seppels are the sort of head-to-head. I've firmly got my mind in his camp over Seppels at this stage.
And who's your number one tip in the Golden Rose? Because we've got the Run to the Rose on Saturday.
Gee, I'm yet to be convinced, swayed or wooed one way or another.
Okay.
I have no idea. Who's yours?
Nepotism at the moment. I'm looking forward to seeing what Tempter can do, however, on Saturday. First up for Kira Ma. I reckon she's the X factor. Hey, I'm looking forward to the Punters Preamble. Thursday it'll drop with yourself and Simon Dinopoulos. Keep that singing up. Maybe a new song wouldn't go astray, but looking forward to hearing what you lads have to say once those final fields are out. But we appreciate you.
Very hard to book all these dead singers.
I know. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. There's Adam Plenko from racingandsports.com. We'll take the news. Gabe Waterhouse will join me next.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. A deal has been reached in the long-running Murdoch family succession, with Lachlan Murdoch to cement his control over the family's media empire. Erin Patterson has spent her first night behind bars since being handed a life sentence for the murders of 3 family members. The value of Australian agricultural exports has surged to over $77 billion in the past financial year on the back of the surge in red meat exports. And Matilda's player Mary Fowler will be swapping the field for the catwalk to model at the Paris Fashion Week. Up next, sen.com.au sport. Thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. Crows forward Joshua Shelley will try to prove he's overcome a knee injury which has seen him miss the past few months ahead of Friday's semi-final against the Hawks. Last touch out of bounds looks set to be introduced in the AFL next season, and the final game of NFL's Week 1 kicks off soon with Chicago up against the Vikings.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. It's time to catch up with the Queen of Australian Racing, Gabe Waterhouse. Gabe, good morning to you. Thanks very much for your time.
Good morning, my gorgeous man. How are you?
I'm very well. I love reading your work and watching your work as well on social media. And yesterday you posted, it was such a pleasure to return to Randwick on Saturday. I've not been on race day for some time, but it was great to see familiar faces and some new ones. The racing was top class. The track was in pristine order. But I was saddened by Randwick's state of neglect. The old stand, it was wrought iron, desperately in need of paint, and the outside seating in the Queen Elizabeth stand looked like the rats had been eating them. The escalators from the car park the members pay a fortune for have been broken for the last 4 years. It's disgraceful to think our premier racetrack is not up to standard it should be. It brought to mind the Peter, Paul and Mary song, Where Have All the Flowers Gone? Did you get a response, Gay? And where the dollars gone, yes.
Where have all the dollars gone? Where have all the dollars gone?
Yes.
With racing receives from the betting, from the betting turnover, millions upon millions of dollars a year, which goes into, the Racing Victoria, New South Wales, Racing New South Wales, and they're the custodians of it to make sure that it filters through to the racetracks, the race clubs, to make sure that they're up to standard, and also to make sure that, there's enough prize money. Well, there's certainly enough prize money, but the stands at all these 4 tracks in Sydney and the facilities, you would die, absolutely die. And this is no good. We've got to have, the right facilities for the horses and also for the patrons when they come racing.
Did you get a response from the Australian Turf Club or Racing New South Wales after that?
Oh, I don't think so. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything yet. I've just got Sen on the radio.
Yeah. Tell me this, Gay. So why haven't you been back at the races and how long have you been away from Sydney racing?
Well, the main reason is because Adrian bought the business.
Yeah.
And I wanted, if I go to the races, people sort of come to me, and I wanted that he was able to build up his profile without me being always there. And also I found that if I was at the track and working in the mornings or through the week, I could, I sort of found that it was easier for me to stay home and watch the races. I can see a lot more. I can then ring him through the day and say, look, the track's no good on the fence, or these jockeys are winning from such and such a position. You do see a lot. And, you're able to do the work through the day. So Saturday's still very much a work day for Gay.
Yeah.
But, I do it from the tower, so to speak.
So we see you in Melbourne from time to time as well. You like getting to the races in Melbourne.
Well, see, the stable in Melbourne's a lot smaller. We've only got the boutique stable of 20 horses. And we have, being an ambassador to the VRC, and at Flemington, which is our home track there, it's just a little bit easier for me.
Yeah.
And I love going racing in Melbourne. I love racing in Sydney, but I was very saddened.
Yeah. Will you be back going back to Sydney racing? Or when will be the next time we'll see you there at the races in Sydney, Gay?
I'm not sure. They'll have to fix up the facility.
Yes. Once they fix up those bloody lifts, I'll be back.
Fix the lifts and the chairs. I can't tell you, the seats are unbelievable.
Hey, geez, I love the performance of Sir Delius. He's now the favourite for the Melbourne Cup with Bet365, Gay. How's he pulled up?
He's pulled up super. Yeah. He's down in Melbourne. He'll come down this afternoon.
Okay.
He's really an exciting colt, our horse. And the other one, don't take anything away from Boban.
Yes.
He was breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
Very, very good horse, Boban, and proven, over the distance. He'll be 20-1, and the other horse will be short price favourite. I have to have something on both of them. I really would.
So where do they go next, Gay?
Boban stays in Sydney and runs in the Kingston town in about 2 weeks.
Yep.
And Sir Delius comes down and he goes to the Turnbull.
Yep.
And then he'll head on the path towards the Cox Plate.
Beautiful. And then on towards the Melbourne Cup. You've done that pretty successfully before that preparation, Gay, if I can recall.
It's a preparation for Sir Delius. It was very much that of Ferrante, and hopefully, they'll be there on the day and be able to pull it off. It'd be lovely if they could run the Quinella.
Yeah.
One lives in hope always.
Yes. Do you reckon
it's nice to have the horses.
Yeah, are you happy with Vauban the way that he's been parading? Because the last couple of Melbourne Cups, he has been the favourite when he was trained by Willie Mullins and basically lost the cup before it even started after melting in the yard.
He did. Well, look, he's going to be living at Flemington. He'll have plenty of exposure to Flemington. We've done an enormous amount. I couldn't tell you the hours we've put in with the gelding to get him acquainted so he feels relaxed when he goes into a mounting enclosure that he loads. He'll always be a little bit quirky loading because that's his natural sort of funny little habit. But he's a different horse. You only had to see on Saturday. It didn't take long to load him. He always takes a little bit of resistance and then he says, oh, well, I've shown them my muscle. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And so he'll head towards the Turnbull Cox Plate and then to the Melbourne Cup. I have to ask you this, Gay. There's an inquiry being opened regarding Adam Hieronymus letting Sir Delius in. Do you think the lads have got anything to worry about?
I don't think there's anything to worry about, but Adrian's in charge of all that, and so I'll leave that in his court. But no, I don't think we don't function like that.
No.
We're very straight-laced, and we're also very transparent.
And I would say, if I didn't believe it, Gay, but I did say yesterday they got nothing to worry about. But I thought both horses had their opportunity there the other day. And Vauban was coming hard, but I was surprised Sir Delius was able to do that over the 1,600 metres, Gay. Could he be too brilliant to be a Melbourne Cup winner? The Cox Plate could be his race.
Well, if the Cox Plate's his race, the Melbourne Cup will be his race.
Yes.
They've got to have speed in Australia.
Yeah.
They've got to have speed. And Sir Delius is a big horse and sometimes takes a moment or two to balance, which is what happened on Saturday in that race. If you go back and look at the replay, he was reefing a bit. And Tim Clark had to make that executive decision. How do I get him to, sort of relax? And he pulled over, and then he was able to get a position.
What about Royal Patronage? When do we get to see him, Gay?
Well, as I said to you, you haven't been listening to me. He's coming down to Melbourne today, and he's off to the Turnbull. I can see.
Oh, no, Royal Patronage. Royal Patronage.
Oh, Royal Patronage.
Yes,
Sorry, forgive me.
it.
I haven't been listening to you.
No, that's all right.
Royal Patronage goes, may come down this week, or he may run in the sevens.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting. He trialled yesterday. He's a big, strong colt. Takes a long time to get fit. Very nice, beautiful horse to look at. And beautiful natured horse too.
Yeah. All right, Gay, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. You've got a winner for us for tomorrow? Just one?
Just back our stables. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, just you've been on fire as well.
You wait till the 2-year-olds get going. That's our big thing. The 2-year-olds will be ready to rock and roll. The official trials take place very, very soon.
Okay. Any new season size that we should keep an eye on that have impressed you that we don't know about?
I think you wait and see till they jump out. Let us get them jump out this Friday. Wait, and then I'll tell you. They're a very nice group of horses. I can tell you that much. A very, very smart, really nice horse. I like the couple of stallions that impressed me.
Yes. Yeah.
I like the new Home Affairs. I think he stands at Coolmore. I think he's a very nice horse.
Yep.
I like the horse. I love Farnham. He's proven. And I love Ollie Kirk. Home
Affairs. Home Affairs looks like he's hit the ground running.
Well, and they're very good-natured horses, which is very important when you're dealing with 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
If they've got the right, if they've got the right disposition, they can do anything. There's the other young stallion that I think is showing real ability is Wild Ruler.
Yes.
Very nice. So it's very precocious horses. And I don't think anyone can go away from the Yarraman Park stallion, Hellbent.
Yep.
He just stamps them like a machine.
Good value for money, Hellbent. Yeah.
Oh, well, look, he's getting plenty of winners, and they're all natural runners.
Yeah. Well,
that's what you look for. That's half the battle if they can run well, and they're natural.
And you can pick them too, Gay. You've got a pretty good record in doing just that.
Well, I put a lot of miles into it. I start in Victoria going around the yearlings in October.
Yeah.
All the studs go, here she is again.
I think it'd be. I'd pay big dollars to go on a tour with you, Gay, to look at these horses. You'd learn a lot, and it's an exciting time of year because before you know it, you got the Ready to Run sale in New Zealand that's been successful, produced some of our best gallopers in recent times, especially in Hong Kong.
Amazing Ready to Run sales, isn't it? I used to think when they first started, I wasn't sort of a fan of them, but I'm absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
They're just, they really are fantastic.
I think the record of that Ready to Run sale in New Zealand, like Charles Wolf came out of it, Golden 60 and the like, Lucky Swainess. So many a good horse have been produced there at that sale. And then before we know it, we'll be on the Gold Coast, Gay.
Oh, don't talk about it. And it's on the sales next year are very compressed.
Yes.
So they're basically almost like 2 weeks between each sale. It's really going to make it an interesting affair for the trainers, who... See, in Australia, the trainers are the ones who normally put up the money, not in all cases, but in many cases.
Yeah.
So their necks are on the block. That never happens overseas. The agents do the buying with their commission. Like they'll have someone will ask them to buy a horse, and so then they'll go and look at the horses and then, charge the client when they buy the horse. And that's all done through the agent. And then the trainers are given the horses to train. But in Australia, it's much more sort of the trainers being sort of on the forefront and catching and killing and trying to find those horses at the sales.
It's only 14 days, I think, in America and overseas as well, over in the UK. So do you think their model's better than our model, Gay?
Safer for the trainer, their model.
Yeah.
Our model's much more risk-taking for the trainer, and a lot of trainers fall over because of it. They can't carry the finances. They can't sell the horses. That's the biggest pressure on horse trainers in Australia.
How have you gone selling horses in recent times? Because you are Gay Waterhouse at the end of the day.
No, it's all on performance.
Yeah.
Especially the 2-year-olds. If your 2-year-olds are performing, people want to be part of the scene.
Yeah.
And if things are slow and they're not going as well, believe me, the sales of those horses are very slow.
Next time you sell a horse at a pub, let me know, Gay.
I will.
Hey, it's great to see you back at the races in Sydney, and we look forward to seeing you in Melbourne as well when you get down here. But bring on the spring, especially with horses like Sir Delius and Vauban. You could just have one of those springs that you will never, ever forget, Gay, with those two stays. And the last one before we let you go, North England, that Son of Fun, and we get to see him on Sydney in the Run to the Rose.
Yes, you do. Very lovely horse.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I was only looking at him yesterday. Just a beautiful, temperamented horse. That's what Farnham throws. He throws really beautiful. They mightn't be the prettiest horses, but they're very well put together. They're very athletic. They're very naturally athletic. And funny enough, they all look a bit the same.
Yeah.
It's really funny. It really stamps his progeny, which I always like as a stallion. I love a stallion that stamps his progeny.
Well, Gay, thanks very much for joining us on Giddy Up. We appreciate it. You keep being Gay Waterhouse, and hopefully the ATC listen to you and fix up those seats so you go back to the races more often there in the Harbour City.
Okay, super. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Gay. There's the legend, Gay Waterhouse. We'll take a break. We'll come back with plenty more. This is Giddy Up on this Tuesday morning.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. On Giddy Up, it's now time for the Midweek Masterclass.
We'll try and find you some winners around the country tomorrow at the Metro Gallops tracks. Racing at Canterbury on a good 4 in Sydney. The rail's out 4 metres. At the moment, it's Sandown, but there is rain around Melbourne. They inspected this track early this morning. They rated it a good 4. The rail's out 12 metres. Ipswich in Queensland, the rail's out 10 metres. We're on a good 4. Balaclava, we're racing on a good 4. The rail's true. And at Belmont in the west, it is a heavy 8 at the moment. The rail's out 14 metres. Let's preview Canterbury to kick off the masterclass. Mark Roden, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gareth. How are we?
Good, thank you, mate. What do you make of this meeting? Where do we start with your place?
We'll start in race 4, but the first thing to say is there's 15 to 50 mil rain forecast from the early hours of tomorrow morning. So they're just going to have to wait and see there, because it's not a bad Wednesday card on paper, but that could play havoc. But we'll just have to wait and see. I'll start in race 4. Come up with number 4 in summer at around $8. Really liked its run at Kenzo 2 weeks ago on the Wednesday. Got a long way back and closed off really well. Was clearly best of the chasers behind Hooligan Tommy in that race. Steps up to 1,900 metres here. 1 over 18.60, I think it was, at Newcastle 2 starts back. So the trip itself won't be a problem. If that rain does arrive, it handles it, and it probably allows horses, off the fence to be able to make ground, which is what it needs. If that's not the case, it might be a different story. I think it's a pretty winnable race too. The early money's come for number 8, Lascare, and I can see why. I think it's a very good chance with McDonald on. Horses like the years, and they probably sort of know now that and perhaps the Progress in summer is the best value at $8.
Beautiful. In summer, that's race 4, number 4. And the other one that you got for us, mate?
Yeah, race 7. This is not progressive at all. Number 3, the Replicant. But I'm just looking at every other horse in the market bar it, assuming Lascare's going to the other race, and they're all just ranked non-winners.
Okay.
You could have said that about the Replicant until recently, but he's won 2 out of his last 4.
Yeah.
He's yet to win in 4 starts at Canterbury, but he's also yet to miss a place. I think he just lobs up in a very nice spot from barrier 3 for Nash, who won on him last Wednesday at Warwick Farm. And you're getting around $5 plus in places. Look, a very, very winnable race. So, look, he's not a horse that's going anywhere beyond Wednesday class, but he's just in good form and might be able to strike again while the iron's hot.
We'll watch the weather tomorrow morning, but at the moment, race 4, number 4 in summer, and race 7, number 3, the Replicate. You've been in fine form. We appreciate you as always, Mark.
Good on you, Gareth. Thanks.
He's the star, Mark Roden. He's been a punter and a tipster for many a year, and he does a great job. And he's tipping us a couple there tomorrow at Canterbury. Mitchell Lewis to join us next to preview the Sandown and Balaclava meetings.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Tom Magny from Coolmore will join us straight after the midweek masterclass coming up after 10 o'clock to pay tribute to the most important horse that Coolmore Australia has had in Fastnet Rock. He died at the age of 24 over the last, I think it was yesterday, it was announced that he had passed away at the age of 24 at Coolmore Australia. He was a horse that meant so much to Coolmore, especially the Australian business. It was a shuttle horse for so many years. He was going from Jerry Plains to Coolmore Island. He produced so many winners. He was the leading horse regarding Group 1 winners from an Australian bred sire. He had 4 more than Reduced Choice. So he will leave some legacy, Fastnet Rock. He was a superstar on the track as well. So we'll catch up with Tom Magny in the next hour.
Powered by Signet. Good morning. I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. Major changes are coming for one of the big 4 banks in a bid to reduce costs. ANZ will cut 3,500 jobs over the next year, with affected employees to leave by September 2026. Most of the changes will mainly involve Australian workers out of the 43,000 staff that work for the company globally. Booked AFL Grand Final pre-game entertainer Snoop Dogg is back in the spotlight after the rapper posted violent videos on his Instagram account, one showing 2 women fighting and another showing a man and a woman under attack from people running in the street. The succession plan for the Murdoch media empire is complete, with Lachlan Murdoch cementing control over the company. 3 of Rupert's other children will exit the family trust in exchange for millions in compensation. In a bid aimed at attracting more workers to the sector, a new campaign is showcasing the broad range of jobs available in Australia's manufacturing industry. Industry spokesperson Sharon Robertson says over the coming months, the campaign will see a media blitz and a new dedicated website.
And what this is all about is trying to address the myths of manufacturing as being a dirty, almost dumb and dangerous career, and more focusing people on the high-tech, creative and varied careers on offer.
And a Victorian couple is $20 million richer after realising a forgotten winning Powerball ticket had been pinned to their fridge since last week. Coming up next, SEN Sport. Thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. Ange Postecoglou could be returning to the EPL months after his Tottenham sacking. The Australian is reportedly the favourite to take the reins at Nottingham Forest after the club axed its manager. And Hawks forward Mitch Lewis may return for Friday's semi-final against Adelaide, with teammate Cal Shadir ruled out.
live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Busy middle hour or third hour coming your way on Giddy Up this morning. Great to have your company wherever you may be listening on your local RSN dial or the SEN Track dial, or wherever you may be listening on your app, whether it be the RSN app or the SEN app. And you can watch us live every day now, streaming on the SEN app, our Facebook page, our YouTube channel as well. Midweek Masterclass, we're in full swing there. We're about to catch up with Mitchy Lewis to look at Sandown on the Hillside track tomorrow, and also Balaclava. We'll catch up with Chris Nelson in this hour. Not far away, Tom Magnier will pay tribute to one of Cornwall's favourite horses, especially in this country, in Fastnet Rock, who died at the age of 24. But let's catch up now with Mitch Lewis, who joins us now. In fact, it's Chris Nelson ready to go. G'day, Chriso.
Mitch is younger than me, Gareth.
I know.
I'd happily be Mitch for the day. No problems at all.
we're running on a good 4. The rail's out 10 metres as we head to Ipswich. So what are we backing?
Good 4, and the weather, as you say, will be fine. No rain around. We are kicking off with race 1, number 5, Some Style. Now, both tips today, not surprisingly, from the Tony Gollan stable. Get with the string. Some Styles had 2 runs back this mare. She ran second at Doomben first up. That was a good effort. And then I liked her second, same track last time out behind Puff and Harry. Now, I know she was an odds-on favourite there and she got beaten, but she was on speed, in the lead, and the pace was quite solid, and I love the way she stuck it out right to the line. Now, gate number 12, you see here before any scratchings. Don't worry about that because there's a lot of emergencies to come out of this race, and she will roll forward, and she is the pace in the race. So I think she'll be able to stick it out this time around third up. So race 1, number 5, Some Style. She doesn't look to have a lot in the way of opposition. We'll go all the way to the last race. Race 7, number 7, Gelatin. Who was an ex-New South Wales galloper, had 2 starts for Tony Gollan. Ange Jones will ride from the rails gate near. First up, 6th at Doomben behind Bright Blonde. Although he was heavily backed, I thought he just needed the run. He didn't really finish off there, but he's 4th at Ipswich last time out. He missed the kick, but I love the way he ran on there. So I think third up tomorrow, they will ride him for speed. That last run, as I said, he missed the kick, but the other one he jumped quite well. So he'll make use of that gate for Ange Jones. I think it'd be very, very hard to run down in the straight. So race 1, number 5, and race 7, number 7.
We'll catch up with you tomorrow, Chris. So looking forward to that.
Thanks, Gareth. Have a good day.
There's Chris Nelson there. Mitchy Lewis joins us. He's been in some great form on the tip. He's done the form for Sandown and also Balaclava. We're on a good 4 at the moment, but that might change there at Sandown. The rail's out 12 metres. There is a little bit of rain around Melbourne over the next 24 hours. And also Balaclava at the moment. We're on a good 4 the rails. True. G'day, Mitchy.
Morning, G. Similar stories, just touching on conditions as what you've said there, Balaclava and Sandown. There's a lot of rain forecast to hit Balaclava sort of today and through the meeting tomorrow, so could make it interesting because tomorrow's the Balaclava Cup, listed race.
So what do we do? Have you found a winner for us?
Look, I'm betting late. We might have a little bit more tomorrow because I really want to see how much rain hits. The horse we've talked about a couple of times, or maybe when you were away, in the Cup, I want to back it each way. Race 9, number 5, Lingani. We saw this horse over in Caulfield earlier in the year, and then it's come back, competed well in the Behemoth Stakes and the Leon McDonald as well, up to the 1,600 metres. But this horse flies on a heavy track when it's 3 from 3. And when I checked the forecast, I had 10 to 20 mil forecast. So if 20 hits and we're on a heavy track, I really think it could suit Lingani.
All right, that race 9, number 5. What else have you got for us, mate?
I'll go to Sandown. Like I said, I'm probably playing Balaclava late. Just if there's going to be a big difference between 10 mils and 20 mils. So a little bit more trustworthy at Sandown at this stage early. In race 1G, the Stokes have a horse going around, the 6th Regal Award. Yeah. Well supported on debut, just missed out to green spaces. Well supported again at the Valley. Just got a little bit far back. I'm not sure he'd love the Valley, but I think Sandown Hillside, not too stressed, 1,300 metres, barrier 11, because you'll get a good enough run in that big straight. So I think he gets his chance, and given he's been well backed in other races, I'm expecting the same thing today in a race that I think probably suits him best.
Beautiful. Race 1, number 6. Anything else, mate?
In race 4, we'll have an each-way play. They're going to go quick here. It's a 1,000-metre dash. I'm going to back first up horse Stoke, however you pronounce that, the 3. She goes well first up. She's a 3 first up. runs for 2 wins. Look, if they get into the soft, it's probably not as ideal, but I still think the price is there. She's won on the soft before, competing in similar level races quite strongly behind Tremble's last prep. Tremble's resumes here off a little spell, but I just think stock a little bit better fresher. So on a high pressure race, I think it's going to be getting the softer run and looks the one to beat.
Beautiful. So Regal Award race 1, number 6, and Stoke race 4, number 3 there at Sandown. We'll have a closer look at those meetings tomorrow, mate, with you.
No, that's the go, mate. Like I said, just a little bit of rain around, so we just want to dial it right up for tomorrow morning.
And Mitchy Lewis, of course, you're with Betsy these days. They're doing a great job, and get your full set of tips for Balaclava tomorrow on the Betsy's platform.
Yeah, Balaclava's keeping me busy tomorrow. They're at Betsy G, 10 races, so it'll be a great day there. We'll have a few more tips for them tomorrow.
Beautiful, thanks, mate. There's Mitchy Lewis there. That is the Midweek Masterclass. It's 9 minutes past 10. We'll take a break on the other side of it. Tom Magnier from Coolmore, Australia, will pay tribute to Fastnet Rock next.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
They come to the 300. Orlando's got a big lead. He's out by 3 or 4 lengths now from Malingi giving chase. Spark of Life down the outside. And then came Fast Net Rock, who's unwinding his run at the 150 metre mark. And here comes Alingi now to get to the lead. Alingi in front. Fast Net Rock's after her. He's closing on the outside. They hit it a photo between Fast Net Rock. He might have got there. Alingi's close up on the inside. The top of the straight now. Then Segments Alizé down the outside. Fast Net Rock 4 lengths from the leader. Inside the 200, it's Orlando in front of Don't Tell Tom. Segments running a huge race, and Fast Net Rock is closing now. Here he comes. Fast Net Rock has raced to Orlando, and Segments the inside, and the 3-year-old has just won it. Fast Net Rock, what a beauty.
What a horse he was, Fastnet Rock. He was a superstar on the track. He won a couple of Group 1s, a Lightning Stakes and an Oakley Plate. He was placed in second in a TJ Smith. But then he went on to great deeds as a sire for Coolmore, Australia. He was the champion Australian sire for a couple of seasons in 2011 and 12. He also won that accolade in 14 and 15. He was the most successful side producing Group 1 winners for more than reduced choice. He produced 197 stakes winners, and his progeny earned around $290 million. So he'd done it all. He was a shuttle stallion as well for Coolmore, heading to Coolmore Island for many a year. And of course, he is the sire of our champion horse at the moment, Via Sistina. And it was sad to see the news that broke yesterday that he had died at the age of 24. And Coolmore Australia's Tom Magney now joins us to pay tribute to this superstar horse. Good morning to you, Tom. First of all, our condolences with everyone involved with Coolmore, especially the people that looked after the champion Fastnet Rock.
Morning, Gareth. Thanks so much. It was a tough day yesterday. I really feel for the team and the staff. It's so hard when these things happen, but it is the end of an era, you know. Yeah. I was very fortunate when I came out to Australia. Actually, I got to be in the foaling tower when he was there, when he came out, and I worked with him in the yearling barn and the stallion barn, and he always had he always had a very, very kind nature. And I remember when you used to walk him around the paddock in the morning with the yearlings, he'd just lap all the other horses. He just had this big stride. And I just really feel for Tony, our stallion manager, Gautier, all the people in our industry, Peter O'Brien, Jim Carey, they all work closely with this horse. And it was a sad day, But as you say, the book's not closed. Via Sistina is still flying the flag for Fastnet, and it's fitting that the flag is still flying.
And he's been a wonderful broodmare sire of recent times as well. He's been our leading broodmare sire for the last couple of years, so his legacy will definitely live on. And Guy Mulcaster was pointing that out to me today when I had a chat to him. We paid tribute to Fastnet Rock in our Breeding Bloodstock and Banner podcast. And I love the photo that you posted, and it reads, "Judge not a horse by its colour, but by the kindness of its eye." And what an eye he had, Fastnet Rock.
Yeah, he was definitely a different looking horse, but just had that kind nature. Like literally, when we were when you'd be showing the new guys that would come into the stallion barn, how to handle a stallion. Horses can change when they become stallions, but this guy didn't. And he had a unique temperament, and he was just a kind horse. And even my daughter last night was crying herself to sleep because she used to hang out down the stallion barn and knew how friendly he was. Yeah. But a fun story I have was that the Queen, when she came to Coolmore in Ireland to see the stallions, she took a step back when Fastnet Rock came out, just the power and the size of him, and she left the stallion barn, and the one horse she had in her mind was just the power and the strength of Fastnet Rock, and it just showed like wherever he went, he was just a powerhouse. Just an amazing stallion, and we're as you say, a very good broodmare sire, and he'll be in pedigrees for years to come.
And how important was he to Australian racing? And because he, along with Exceed and Excel, but he definitely helped put Australia on the map in a way to European racing. Obviously, with Fastnet being shuttled for many a year back to Coolmore and Ireland.
Yeah, he had an Oaks winner. He had a lot of good horses up in Europe.
Yeah.
Obviously even Via Sistina. But I remember when he left to go up to Europe, Paul Perry was like, whatever you think is Choisir up here, this guy's going to do something similar.
Yeah.
And he got to Newmarket and he didn't travel well. He got pneumonia. And we got a call from the vets out there saying this horse isn't going to make it. And he's not going to make the... he's traveled.
We just lost you a little bit there, Tom. Sorry. We'll see if we can fix that line. He was loud and clear. We'll get Tom back on the line. But, yeah, he was telling the story that he was going to represent Australia over there in Europe. And unfortunately, he got sick. He got travel sickness and they nearly lost him. So he was a mighty horse, as I said before. His record speaks for itself. He was such an important horse for Coolmore, Australia. He led the way in many a way. Sorry, Tom, we got you back. We just lost you there for a sec. You were explaining the story when he went to Europe, and unfortunately we nearly lost him.
Yeah, he went to Europe. He got bad travel sickness, and due to the care that they gave him up there, he fought back, and he was right, and we brought him back to stud. But I remember Paul Perry saying, when this horse goes to Royal Ascot, they won't see him down the straight. He'll be that far ahead, and it's a shame because he didn't get to show it off up there. But I remember Paul Perry was so confident. But it was a tough flight for him, and he was. But then he shuttled, and he loved his trips to Ireland, and he just had, I got a lot of calls from people who worked up in Ireland about their horse. They were so fond of him, and there's a lot of people like Joseph O'Brien, Aidan O'Brien used to love him.
Yeah.
He sent nearly every mare he had to him. He thought they were just such tough horses, and he said if I ever had a horse like that in the yard, he said I'd win everything.
Yeah, I think people forget Aidan O'Brien. He's a great trainer, and when I was lucky enough to head to Coolmore, and what a place it is, Tom, and it was an honour to go and watch Aidan O'Brien at work there at Ballydoyle. But I never knew that. I knew that Aidan loved his breeding. Obviously, his family were big in that side of the game, but he is a big breeder, isn't he, Aidan O'Brien and his family?
Yeah. He's got a very, very big broodmare band, which he supports heavily, and he's bred a lot of good horses like Rocket Gibraltar, and he breeds a lot of horses with Dad and himself, and Anne-Marie, and he's very good at it.
And Fastnet Rocky would have been an important horse to you as well. Obviously, when you came to Australia, he was the star of the show.
Yeah, very much so. As I said, I work with him in the yearling barn and in the stallion barn, and then when I was in life, then he was becoming champion sire, and he flew the flag for Coolmore, Australia. Hence, his legacy now. He's got a bronze statue on the avenue. Yeah. But I suppose the feather in the hat really was at the weekend of the open day.
Yeah.
We were thinking what stallions to bring out, and I said, why don't we bring out Fastnet to the guys? And everyone, really wanted to do it. So we had a look at him, and we got him in to get him ready. And he just came back to life. He was like, oh, I'm back on show.
Yeah.
And he was on fire. He was, he was full of himself going around. Really, really enjoyed it. And everyone had their camera phones out, taking pictures of him. And that was only 2 weeks ago. So we're glad that we did that. And, everyone got to see him one last time. But, it's just tough for the staff at the farm. And I really feel for them. And, just the time, the effort. They see these horses day in, day out. They know their quirks. And, I can't thank everyone at Coolmore, Australia, from the vets to the farriers to the guys who look after them day in and day out, because, it really affects them. Yeah. And, my thoughts with them.
Yeah, 100%. Tom, well said. And what about the breeding season? Obviously, Wooden Bassett's back. I've been watching some social media posts. He looks like he's enjoying life back in Australia. And how's City of Troy settled in to Australia for the first time?
City of Troy, he's going very well. Loves it. Very good mares. Wooden Bassett is going very well. He looks great. Obviously, just keeps getting winner after winner
Yeah.
in Europe. And then the new boys, Stone Boy, has taken to it like a duck to water.
Yep.
As soon as you put the head collar on, it's about. And Cyril and Private Life are both doing great, and they've all got really good books and mares. But it's great to see, two sons of Justify are fully booked. And it's a great time of the year. Very fortunate by the clients that we have, and we've got some lovely foals on the ground, some lovely Shinzus coming through. So very, very happy so far.
And we just had Gay Waterhouse on the line. I was just asking her about any size with the 2-year-old trials just around the corner that are exciting, Gay. And the first of all she mentioned was Home Affairs. So you must be excited to see what his progeny are about to do.
Yeah, very much so. Obviously, like Chris Waller, Gay Waterhouse, Kieran Marr, the Hayes, they're all sprouting Home Affairs, which is very exciting. But the other horse that I would kind of keep an eye on that I'm hearing very good chat about is Mark's.
Okay.
I'm hearing some pretty serious word about them, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, the trials are only around the corner, and yeah, very excited for Home Affairs. They've all gone to the right trainers, the right agents bought them. And I'd say El Capitano, Guy Mulcaster, will be following them very closely.
Will Ballydoyle or any of your European horses come to Australia for our carnival, or is it too early to say yet their time with our big races just around the corner?
What's going on at the moment? We've got the Keeneland sales, obviously in America at the moment. There's I think like 6,000 yearlings going through the ring over there. So we're kind of focused on that in the mornings here, working on Keeneland, and kind of as soon as Keeneland's over and everyone gets back home, we sort it out from there and see where we're going.
And when do you make your decision regarding your Everest slot?
No rush.
Yeah.
No rush with the Everest. We'll obviously see what we have. And if we don't have anything amongst our team, then we will look outside. But we're definitely not under any stress or pressure there at the moment. But it's going to be very interesting, obviously, with the Hong Kong horse of David Hayes is coming down. And in no rush. We'll just see what happens internally, and then if it's not internally, we'll go externally. Yeah,
that is exciting to see Kane rising. It's going to be someday, that Everest. And we get to see Woden back at the races as well, to the Run to the Rose. How's he travelling?
Yeah, travelling well. Very happy with his run the other day. It was a very encouraging first time back. And James was very happy with him. And we'll kick on. We'll kick on to the next day. Obviously, James is going to be in Melbourne. So, I think I'll leave it all up to Chris. Yeah. But everything seems pretty encouraging with him at the moment. And Kieran Marr is happy with State Visit as well. Okay. So we'll see how we go. And then for Moira the other day, very happy with him. So, hopefully things progress well for the spring.
Thanks very much for your time, mate. We appreciate it. I know you're a busy man, but on behalf of everyone here at RSN and SEN Track and the SEN network, we send our condolences to Coolmore, Australia, and everyone at Coolmore after the passing there of Fastnet Rock. What a champion he was on and off the track, and he'll be missed, but as we've mentioned before, his legacy will live on forever. So we appreciate you coming on to pay tribute to the champ.
Thanks, Gareth.
Good on you. There's Tom Magnier there. We'll take the news. We'll come back with more of the Bet365 Country Racing Hour.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. Booked AFL Grand Final pre-game entertainer Snoop Dogg is back in the spotlight after the rapper posted violent videos on his Instagram account. ANZ has announced about 3,500 jobs will be axed by next September. The temporary suspension of some parcels posted from Australia to the US is being lifted, with Australia Post to resume services later this month. And a Victorian couple is $20 million richer after realising a forgotten winning Powerball ticket had been pinned to their fridge since last week. Coming up next, SEN Sport. Thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. The last disposal out of bounds rule, not last touch, will be considered this month by the AFL Commission for next season. If the ball is knocked over the line in a contest, it would not be a free kick. The rule will only apply in between the 50-metre arcs. And the final game of NFL's Week 1 between the Vikings and the Bears is underway.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
There's no fighter command. Bay of Biscay, 26-6 the quarter. He goes to work now on it. It leads by about 3 metres. Here's Hesitate down the outside, inch by inch, cutting back the margin. Whacking away my key to success. Have a look at Go Mickey off the track, and also there Fox Stan. It's Bay of Biscay, packing plenty of power. It's Hart. It's Bay of Biscay. Bay of Biscay wins the Eureka.
The Eureka is harness racing's richest race. It's the world's richest race, worth close to $2 million. And it was competed there on Saturday night at Menangle. It's a slot race. Emma Stewart, what a night she had. She had 4 of the top 3 runners, including the winner, Bay of Biscay, the runner-up, Fox Dan, and the 4th horse, Go Mickey. And she also had Mickey to success, so 4 of the top 5 she trained. And Luke McCarthy trained Hesitate. Obviously, Bay of Biscay's the son of Sunbeach Somewhere, owned by a big syndicate. And they teamed up with Robert Watson, who's been a great supporter of harness racing for many years, as one of our biggest owners and breeders. And Rob joins us now here on Giddy Up as part of the Bet365 Country Racing Hour. First of all, Rob, congratulations, mate. How about that? What kind of thrill did that give you by teaming up with the Emma Stewart camp to win the Eureka on Saturday?
Yeah, hi, Gareth. Amazing thrill. Just great to be a part of that night. Great crowd, great atmosphere, and just a thrill to win such an amazing race.
How big has this race become?
Well, apparently it was the second biggest crowd at Menangle since opening day. It was a massive event. It's just growing and growing in stature, and it was just great to be a part of it. The crowd was buzzing. It was a great time to be alive.
So this is a race put on by Harness Racing Australia and Menangle. It's the 3rd year it's been run. So why did you get involved trying to own a slot here for the Eureka?
I just think it's a great concept, following in the footsteps of some of the big races in the thoroughbreds. Just gives everyone a race to aim for. It's just the first year it was like, maybe not, but I think everyone now wants to win the Eureka. In the past, growing up, it was always the Inter Dominion, but this race has just grown in stature, and just so many people involved. On Saturday night, 3 or 4 of the slot holders have big syndicates, and even the winners, Bay of Biscay, they brought along 12 owners, 12 partners, probably 50, 60, 100 plus friends and family. So it's just an amazing thing for harness racing.
So the big stables are represented. Emma Stewart had 4 runners engaged. Grant Dixon had 3. Luke McCarthy had 1, and Jess Tubbs and Jeff Webster had 1 each as well. There's been some criticism of this race that it doesn't give everyone an opportunity to compete, and the race is funded by a stallion tax. So for not all stallions, but stallions that come from international shores, mainly from North America, they're taxed, and the money made from that tax goes to funding this race. Now, I want to ask you this. You've got a slot, but you're one of the, I don't know, how many horses do you breed now?
My numbers are quite down now, but probably around about 30 mares a year,
And you've got a stallion.
A lot bigger than that. But
you've got a stallion, Tribeca. So what do you make of this stallion tax? Do you think it's fair that what the breeders say they have to fund this race?
Well, I don't know if the breeders are funding it. I just think for many, many years, American owners have been filling their pockets thanks to Australia and New Zealand. And we're not talking $1 million or $2 million. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. And I guess HRA had to come up with some form of way of making this race worth something. They've restricted it to Australian-bred horses only. There's so much going for it. Yeah, there's a lot of criticism, but at the end of the day, this race is so important. I was really nearly close to giving up the industry because there's just no money in it. There's no prestige anymore. But I think this race has rejuvenated a lot of people to go on and win a race like this and stay involved. And the stallion tax, you got to understand that it's only American imported semen, and a lot of people making those complaints don't even go to those stallions. So the other side of the equation is that there's a lot of acceptance now of Australian bred horses, and even my stallion Tribeca, you got Poster Boy, Ride High. These types of stallions are starting to make a name for themselves, and there's no tax involved in those horses. And I think it was a pity that the Americans didn't actually just just take on the tax themselves, but instead they left their prices at they are and increased them. And unlike the Gallops, where a lot of the stallions are Australian owned, the money's staying here. We need to keep that money here. So, I'd like to say, support the Australian stallions. Go to the American stallions as well. But geez, it's, when you're paying $17,000 to $30,000 for imported semen, it's a lot of money to pay. And I just think they had to get the money somehow.
So do you think that they could use the money in other avenues regarding that stallion tax? They can put it to other races, or you think this is the best way to go with the Eureka, the way that it's been funded?
Well, it's just like a bucket of water with lots of holes in it. We've been for years just trying to close those holes, but we need something. We need some. I'm not saying that I'm 100% wrong.
No,
but we need something to get the sport invigorated, because it is on the decline, and there's some glimmer of hope with races like this. And a state like Victoria hasn't got a slot race, and have a look how well they're going. I made a decision today. I just spoke to Mick Stanley. I'm moving all my mares from Victoria to New South Wales because there's just no future there at the moment. At least with racing in New South Wales and Western Australia and Queensland, there's still a glimmer of hope.
Yeah. So how many horses now would you say all your horses will be based in New South Wales with Michael Stanley?
They will be, yeah. But I've got a lot of horses in WA. I'm starting to breed again in WA. Victorian, especially, what they've done in Victoria, overnight they just, can decisions that you've made a decision on a year or 2 years previous. So I don't know. Yeah, the Eureka has got some criticism, but it's got a lot of positives as well. And at the end of the day, if you've got the best 3 or 4 year old in the land, people are going to come knocking on your door for that horse, because for 3 years I haven't had my own horse in the race.
Yeah.
I've gone for the best possible horse.
We just lost there. Oh, there you are, Rob.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, mate. Well, you're back. You got a call. Yeah.
I love the Eureka. It is amazing. It was well organised. Yeah.
And it was a great drive by Cameron Hart. Emma Stewart, as I said, she can take a bow. Wonderful trainer, and she's sort of owned the Eureka. That's 2 out of 3 years that it's been going for 3 years, and Emma Stewart and Clayton Tonkin have won 2, and they dominated this year's. And Cameron Hart didn't muck around. He's a wonderful big time driver as well, going straight to the front this time.
Yeah, lovely guy. We met him for the first time when we signed up in the first year with My Ultimate Barney.
Yeah.
Poor draw, but he drove that to a treat that day. But yeah, we sort of the intention was to always, I believe, go forward. You've got to put yourself into the race. Unlike last year with Never Ending, he's just never given a hope. And I'm not knocking Junior because he's such an amazing driver, but sometimes you get it right and sometimes you get it wrong. The pace wasn't on last year, and that's the way it goes from a bad barrier, I guess. But tremendous effort by Emma. Very professional trainers. And I thank them for the opportunity, especially the owners, guys like Tim Bunning, who contacted me, Brett Coffey, to give me that opportunity early, and had to accept.
Will it be worth more next year? What are you hearing out of Harness Racing Australia there with the Eureka?
Well, I can only hope so. I'd like to think that with their money now in gambling and betting, that a company like the TAB probably got in pretty lightly. So I'd like to see them raising the money, and I'd be happy to tip in more money to make it an even bigger race. I'd like to, even if we upped it to $150,000 or $200,000 per slot, why can't this race be $4 million at the end of the day? So a lot of people, what they would have got to remember too with the stadium tax, if I hadn't have won this race this year, I would have probably been down for the 3 years. So, we've put a lot of skin in the game. There's 10 slot owners who took a big risk and, have put $3 million in of their own money, no one else's money. So there's some slot holders that are definitely in the red.
Yeah.
And, these are people that really have a passion for the sport. And, it's not just about a stadium tax. It's about these owners putting skin in the game, and I think there's a lot of other people now willing to get on board as well.
And without a lot of those owners in the game, they've got Danny Savasanos, yourself, Sam at Bloodstock have got a lot of horses, and I know that Mickey Harvey's got a lot of horses, but if they don't have these type of races, they will get out of the sport, and then the sport is in trouble when you lose.
Well, it just gives us that aim. You look at Victoria now, the featured 2- and 3-year-old races are just not even worth... the people that are complaining about the stallion tax, as I said, a lot of them don't go to Captain Treacherous, Bettor's Delight, these types of stallions. But there's some amazing stallions that are based in Australia, like Art Major and that don't attract a tax. So it just gives that people the options and can give people a dream of winning a race like that, So and guys like Danny and Jamie and Aaron and the amount of owners that they've brought into the sport, it's just not 10 slot holders and 10 individuals. Some of those guys have hundreds of people, thousands of people behind them.
Yeah.
And that's good for the game, And what I look at Menangle and the crowd there, if one or two kids walk away from there thinking, like I did many, many years ago at Gloucester Park, geez, this looks like a really good fun sport to be in. Just one or two of them buys a horse or gets involved, it's a win.
Yeah.
It's an absolute win,
Well, it was great to see you have success. Obviously, as I said, you poured in a lot of money, and well done to team up with Emma Stewart, with Bay of Biscay and the owners there, Brett Covey and Timmy Bunning, great people for the sport of harness racing. So well done, mate. And those black and red colours are flying everywhere you look as well. So look out, you're taking over the world.
Yeah, no, we're going good in that. It's a good move by Mick. He made that move to Sydney. Just more opportunities, better money. Yeah, he's really enjoying. Drove 4 winners yesterday.
Yes.
So
look out.
No, he's going okay.
And you're running marathons as well, mate. So there's nothing you can't do. But we appreciate.
I said to him, mate, I'm the only person that would have done the Sydney Marathon Eureka double.
Yes. Well done. You should be proud. Thanks for joining us, mate. We're going to run. You're a good man. There's Robert
Okay,
Watson.
mate, thank you.
He's a winning slot holder of the Eureka, worth close to $2 million. Some interesting comments there regarding that stallion tax. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Craig Smith from the Kalgoorlie Turf Club, the chairman of that turf club, to have a chat about their slot race coming up shortly.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
To Giddy Up. Looking forward to catching up with Craig Smith, who was the CEO of the Kalgoorlie Race Club, because they've got an exciting new slot race that they're about to have run for the first time this year. And Craig joins us now. Good morning to you, Craig. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Gareth. How are you, man?
Good, thanks, mate. Talk us through, or tell us about what this Golden Saddle is all about, this slot race, and how it come about.
Yeah, so we had the Premier out here last Kalgoorlie Cup, and I think we gave him a few beers, and he came up with the idea for a slot race out here in Kalgoorlie worth $1 million. So we're running with that, mate, and it's fantastic news for horse racing, really, in regional Western Australia. It's fantastic.
So that is great to be the richest country cup race, definitely in WA, but probably in this country worth $1 million. And they tell
I checked that. I think the Gold Coast cheat and say they're regional.
No, that doesn't count, mate. It doesn't count.
Yeah, I know.
Smithy.
I believe it doesn't count either. But yeah, so I say national.
Yeah, we will call it national. There's no doubt about that. Kalgoorlie's in the middle of nowhere, and everyone knows. Well, goes to the Gold Coast anyway. So it's a beautiful place, Kalgoorlie, mind you. And they tell me it was difficult to get a slot. I tried to get a slot, but they're all taken up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think they wanted to make sure we're going to fill the slots. So I think you've done the right thing. I think he didn't want to pull all the eggs in one basket. So he gave us 2 weeks last year to fill the slots. Next year will be different. It'll be a different process. Obviously, apply through and see. Well, the slots will be handled in a different way. But it was fantastic that people hopped on board really quick to confirm it was going to go ahead.
So the race is on Kalgoorlie Cup Day. Is that right?
Yeah, mate, the race before. So we've got the Ron Sayers Sprint, Golden Saddle and Cow Cup. So we've got some big races in a row.
So what distance is the Golden Saddle over?
1,200, mate. 1,200 metres. 11 horses, 11 slots.
You'll get some nice horses there, I would imagine.
Yeah, trying to get the trainers to confirm has been hard, but we've confirmed horses like Magnificent Andy, Bravo Centurion. So there's horses that have won Group 3s for sure. Magnificent Andy thinks I'm 13 at Quokka. So there's some nice horses around, and trying to convince the trainers to tell us what horse they will bring has been hard, but understandable. I just want to make sure they've got the right horse in the end.
I remember having dinner with Andy Ingles recently. Before when I was in WA, a few of the team there at Kalgoorlie. It's a no-brainer to have a slot race there because there's so much money there in Kalgoorlie with a lot of wealthy racing lovers that made money out of the Kalgoorlie, the Goldfields region, who love their horse racing. And I reckon it would have been easy to sell their slots. Everyone would have tried to get bragging rights, basically, I reckon.
Well, mate, 100% correct. There's a lot of people that are happy they didn't have a slot, understandably. But as I said, next year's different. And even, mate, I've only been here for about 4 months, and you find out pretty quickly that all these nice horses are owned by Kalgoorlie people anyway. So it's actually, I was surprised that so many of these people in Perth racing with these nice horses. There's a Kalgoorlie connection with most of them.
Yeah, and we can get into a raffle. So if you missed it, like if you haven't got a slot, how can you go about buying a ticket to try and win a chance to win, I think, $20,000?
Yeah, so, mate, what we did, the KBRC kept the last slot and we put it in a raffle. We've actually secured the second favourite in the race, Bravo Centurion. Had a pretty good prep a year ago. They won 7 on the trot, which included a Group 3 win. And up front, we're going to draw it on the Boulder Cup Day, which is a fortnight before. You win $20,000 up front, but you also win 40% of the horse. So if you win, you're going to take home nearly an extra $136,000.
So you win 20,000 plus the 136 if Luke Fernie can get in.
40% of the horse.
So how do you buy a ticket?
If he comes last, mate, you win an extra $11,000 if he comes last.
So how do you buy a ticket?
Mate, you jump on the website, kbrc.com.au, or just go on Facebook, Kalgoorlie Boulder Racing Club, and Instagram, or even just hop on a call to the office here and we'll sort you out.
Beautiful. So, tickets are $100.
Mate, It's a hard one to explain to people that aren't in horse racing, don't understand slot racing, because the person told me, how could I win $156,000 when total ticket sales is only $150,000? That's the beauty of it, though.
Yeah, no, I think it's a brilliant idea. So $100 a ticket, and you're a chance to own 40% of Bravo Centurion, but at least you get $20,000 if you win anyway. I think
lock in the $20,000. If you're over east and you win, that's enough money to hop on a plane and head over and
beautiful.
Watch it yourself, mate.
I'll lock it in, and Andy and the team at at Kalgoorlie Toyota. We're going to join forces with him next year. So, hey, mate, stay with us. I've got to take a quick break. I want to come back and ask you a few more questions. I'll take a break and I'll come back with Craig Smith once again from Kalgoorlie.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Craig Smith still on the line, the CEO of the Kalgoorlie Club. So, Craig, we just go to the website. You pay $100. If you win, you get $20,000 guaranteed. And you can win up to $140,000 if Bravo Centurion wins the Golden Saddle.
Yeah, mate, you even get paid down to last. So even last place, 40% of the last is about 11K, I think, as well.
Beautiful.
So no matter what, you're going to bank on top of that 20K, mate.
I love it.
Second and third as well is a $5,000 cash as well.
Beautiful. Andy Inglis there from Kalgoorlie Toyota. He's going to team up with us next year. I'm going to make sure we do a partnership with him. I know he's a hard man to negotiate with, but I'm going to try and lock him in, and we'll be at Kalgoorlie next year. Good on you, mate. I love the initiative. You guys should be proud, kicking plenty of goals, and go and get them for that slot race. Appreciate your time, mate.
Powered by Signet. Hello there, I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. A historic treaty deal has been reached in Victoria that will see the state embed Indigenous history into its school curriculum and rename landmarks. Premier Jacinta Allen says the Indigenous Council will be similar to the Albanese government's failed voice to Parliament.
The bill will require government agencies, government departments, statutory authorities to consult on the policies and programs that they are designing that directly impact and affect, and also too are designed to support Aboriginal Victorians.
Retailer The Good Guys has been fined $13.5 million by the federal court. It's been found guilty of running more than 100 promotions that promise customers store credits, but with a short expiry window of up to 10 days that could barely be seen in the fine print. The effects of South Australia's devastating algal bloom will be heard in public hearings that begin today. Over 100 submissions, including from crippled businesses, have been lodged with the Senate committee. The value of Australian agricultural exports has surged to $77.2 billion in the past financial year. September is Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Month, and we're being encouraged to wear red shoes or socks to raise awareness. A new study estimates about 1 million Australians are living with the condition. And Mary Fowler is swapping the soccer pitch for the catwalk. The Matildas player will model at the Paris Fashion Week alongside other celebs. Up next, SEN Sport. Thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. The last disposal out of bounds rule, not last touch, will be considered this month by the AFL Commission for next season. If the ball is knocked over the line in a contest, it would not be a free kick. The rule will only apply in between the 50-metre arcs. And the final game of NFL's Week 1 between the Vikings and the Bears is underway.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Giddy Up bag of tips for Oz Equipment Rentals, supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com.
See if we can find you a few winners today right across the country. All thanks to Bet365 Top Tote Plus. You'll get the best payout across all 3 national totes. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. The Ultima Hotel in the heart of the Mallee, just down the road from Swan Hill. Swing by for a cold beer. And Oz Equipment Rentals, supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com. Now, the Bet365 Boost Horse, race 4, number 6, Moke Sun, back to the 1,000 metres for our man Henry Dwyer. So race 4, number 6, Moke Sun is the Boost Horse there with Bet365 on a heavy 8. The rail's true. Let's get an update there with the track. Thanks to Dermot O'Connor, of course, the track manager there at Warrnambool. Dermot, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gareth. Good morning to the listeners. How are we today?
Good, thanks, mate. What can we expect today?
So as you mentioned, it's a heavy 8 at the moment. It's an early heavy 8 at the moment, so I predicted it would probably go into a soft 7 quite early after the first couple of races, especially with the sunshine that's currently present. There was plenty of moisture in the ground at the moment. We had 54.1%. So, but I should suspect with the sunshine and a little bit of wind coming from the westerly, it should dry out a little bit.
So that's good news. So probably after race 2, we'll get to a 7. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking so, yeah. So.
All right then, mate. What about the wind conditions? Will they play any part in the way that the pattern plays out there today at Warrnambool?
Potentially. So currently it'd be a headwind going into the turn.
Yes.
The inside 4 lanes haven't been raced on since May, so it's in pretty good condition, and then it starts to thin out a little bit more. So obviously from the start it'll be probably more the lanes, inside lanes will be probably a little bit superior, but then throughout the day hopefully it'll even out throughout.
Beautiful. Thanks for that update, Dermot, and well done to everybody involved. I don't think we've been on the show since the announcement there that Warrnambool was the country race club of the year at the VRC Awards recently, and you play a major part. So well done to you and the team, mate.
No, thank you so much, Gareth. Yeah, like you Miss Nat said, the team has done a fantastic job, and look, there's so many fantastic country clubs around, and just to be recognised is a massive honour. So, no, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it, mate.
Job well done. Good luck today. There's Dermot O'Connor there. Sam Lyons from Racing.com joins us. The colourful Sam Lyons. Hello, Sam.
Good, G, man. How are you?
I thoroughly enjoyed your work the other day. I think you're at Sale. It was freezing cold, or Moe.
Oh, Moe, mate,
it was.
I drew the short straw on that one.
Yeah.
So, nice to be back in the studio.
Aren't you the boss?
No, unfortunately, I don't. I'm not currently doing the rosters. I was doing them, but
there you go.
hence I was out there.
Yes.
I'm too smart prior to be putting myself out on those days, my friend.
So Matty Stewart will be at Warrnambool today on track, I would imagine, and you were in the studio with Terry Bailey on Tuesdays, isn't it?
Yeah, TB, just always a bit of fun with Terry. I do enjoy them. He keeps on your toes, you have to have a thick skin, but that's okay. We thrive under that sort of pressure, mate.
Yes, mate. What are we doing today from a punting perspective? Obviously, we should get an upgrade, it sounds like, listening to Dermot O'Connor at the Bull today.
It's interesting. I did hear from a trainer earlier that they thought it was genuinely heavy. So I've done my form with a heavy track, or at least genuinely rain affected, and I expect you're still going to see that track chop out. I know they've got some cleaner ground inside where they've brought the rail back, but they'll get into that, and I think those horses later in the day will get their chance to make ground. So that's how I've done my form. My best, and particularly from a betting point of view, is probably Jenny the Beaver for me. Race number 5, 3,100 metres. This is a horse who sticks at the 3,100 off a little bit of a freshen, but she went around against most of the key chances in this race anyway. Last time out, it was back on the 24th of July, so a little bit of a time between runs, but she finished second in Noonday Gun there. She ducked back down to the inside, which was clearly inferior ground, and she was solid there holding off a number of her competitors today. Yes, a few of these have had a run in between, but as long as she doesn't go backwards, I think she's a nice bet. She's around that $3.40 or so mark. So for me, I think that's reasonable value for a horse that just needs to hold that form to probably be beating them. So she's probably my best of the day, particularly on price. I did like Silk Sonic as well, but, you can forget pouring into the $1.50 that is now. The $2.30 or so yesterday about that horse was good, but I'm wary of the price that's coming into. But if you see that I've got it in my best, I do. But so I'm not going to push it as a bet at $1.55. The other one I'm pretty keen on having something on is Sophia in the last. So the Simon Wild runner went around favourite against Bergerson, who raced against here last time, and Bergerson went straight to the front. They were 10 lengths slower than standard to the 800 metres, got away with absolute murder, was never going to get run down. Sophia was too far back. For the data nerd, she was the fastest 8 to the 6 and 6 to the 4 before being held up a touch. She was never going to threaten, but she was solid. I think they can be closer here today. I think they can get down the middle of the track, and I think get around that $6-ish mark.
Okay.
You're a nice little play, and I think that's about the best value play of the day. Beyond that, I've ended up with bloody 7 of 8 favourites on top, which frustrates you once you've done your form because you feel like I could have just waited for the markets to come out and picked them and saved myself all the time and trouble. But I think it's a relatively straight up and down day. I reckon Simon Wild will have a good day. And, that's probably the way I'm playing it.
All right, mate, let's hope you can find plenty of winners despite their favourites. A winner is a winner, mate. What about, just recap your best there for us?
So I reckon the best will be race 5, number 4, Jenny de Beaver.
Yes.
You get around that $3.50 mark, and I think that's a fair price to have something on here. And the other bet I'm keen to have at a reasonable price is race 8, number 14, even lucky number, birthday. And she's around that $5.50, $6 mark, depending where you're shopping at the moment. And I think she can beat Bergerson, who beat them last time. The other one I could entertain is late in the day as well, but French Navy for Simon Wild in race 7. You get about $2.70 about that. That's probably another one that you could have something on. Beyond that, mate, I reckon that's got us about covered for today.
Well, you go and get them. Enjoy this afternoon. That coverage will start at, what time's the first day? 1 o'clock the coverage will start. 1:30 is the first.
Yep. Yeah, 1:30 is the first. Yeah, we'll be on at 1, mate.
Yep.
We'll be on.
Mate.
Terry will be potting me for having a shorty in amongst my best bets, and we'll kick off from there.
All right, well, you make sure you stand up for yourself with TB. Thanks for that, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries. You have a good one, G-Man.
There's Sam Lyons from racing.com, so that coverage starts at 1 o'clock. Here's the legend, Lindsay Smith joins. He's got a couple of chances there at Warrnambool today. G'day, Lindsay.
Gareth, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Star of Sterling. Looks a nice race for Star of Sterling to kick off proceedings.
Yeah, he's found, obviously, not many runners. He was a bit slow in the stride the other day, and he made a run around him, which he wasn't. I don't think he's savvy enough for that. And maybe the winner, the jockey did like the winner. I heard his comments after the race, said he didn't mind the winner. So he's really only got one to beat today, this horse. But he's also nominated for Friday. So if he happened to got beat today, he'll butter up on Friday. And he wins, he can butter up Friday in the 66. So
okay.
I think the butter up, he'll be a better bet than he is today.
All right, then. So wait for Friday, but he'll handle the heavy track. He was okay there the other day on that surface at Seymour.
Yeah, no, I don't. He's a big plotter. I don't think it'll worry him too much.
Yeah, and you got Romuald, who goes around in race number 2, son of Seamus Award. He sees a heavy track for the first time.
Yeah, the jockey, Ethan Brown, rode him. Bendigo thought he'd prefer a bit of given the ground, so we headed to Warrnambool because 9 out of 10 had always got given it. We put some winkers on him. That maiden the other day was a $100,000 race for the Inglis bonus race. So I think it was quite a strong race. He'd done a bit of work getting to the front. Hopefully he might be able to box seat today. And the favourites had a few chances. So I don't think it's a very strong race. So I'll be disappointed if he doesn't run 1 or 2.
All right, then. So we should have a bet on him today. Is he a better chance than Star of Sterling, or we should back them both?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, I think Ramol is the better of the two. So if you do back the first one, if you get beat,
butter
I'll
up.
snip someone for Friday.
Yeah,
snip someone for Friday.
Yeah, I will. I'll snip you. Gamble responsibly, of course. 1-800-858-858. I might back first chorus tomorrow. A couple of Hall of Famers from WA teaming up. D Lane rides for you. He keeps on winning. Obviously, this is tougher tomorrow at Sandown.
Oh, I wouldn't get a mention in the Hall of Fame, but
Are you in the Hall of Fame yet?
No, well, maybe in my house. That's about it.
No, I thought you'd be a Hall of Famer, but she first chorus she goes around tomorrow, I should say.
Yeah, well, we need a bit of range. He prefers a bit of give in the ground, so not many chances do I have to get Damien to ride ours. So that's a plus. The only thing Mott did get off to ride the favourite, so a bit of rain helps us quite a lot.
All right, then I caught up with the son-in-law the other day at Caulfield. He galloped Tuvalu, and he said that the Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes first up. Which way are you going with Tuvalu? Or are you going to the Bobby Lewis?
Yeah, no, I sat down. In reality, you always got to pick your fights, and some of them younger horses are going quite good. I see they mentioned
Angel
Rupert
Capital.
Clarke, so that
yeah,
and the Seapool, is it?
Seapools, yeah, that's it. Seapools,
yeah. So I thought I might run Saturday and then go to the Fan, and then that Treasure Moments put his hand up to go there. So I might have to go to Meekatharra. I don't know, but there's a race at grand final day, 1500.
Yeah, at Sandown. Yeah. Yeah.
So I might take the Coward's Way out running Saturday, and then see if I can't sort of king hit someone on the Saturday and win a race like that.
Yeah, and then obviously there's a few options for him anyway down the track, but
yeah, it's just all depends how he bounced back. He looked all right in the trial the other day. He had the punters might know that he had a chip removed from his fetlock, and I thought he'd moving better than he has for a while. So. Watch the run on Saturday and then make your own mind up.
So did you, he's all over his problems. He can find a problem, this horse.
Yeah, I reckon he's got more than me and you, but he seems to be okay.
Yeah, that's good. Touch wood.
I don't know what else he can come up with. No. He's had everything bar kissing and spine, so let's hope he doesn't get that.
Touch wood. Did you?
Yeah,
Sorry. No, go.
No, so I think he's moving good. He spent a bit of time in the Water Walker with Ricky Mack up in Bendigo. Yep. Then he went and spent a few weeks out in the forest with Paulie Pruska. And then he's been down here. So, he's done a lot of heavy sand work. He's very fit. And this is the first time he's ever come in a preparation off the heavy sand. So, interesting, but he did roll along quite good the other day in that jump out.
So are we going to use the heavy sand with Paul Pruska a little bit more often now, Lindsay? Have you found that formula that suits your horses?
Well, it's I've never sort of been able to really train like I did in Perth.
Yeah.
And I keep trying to find a way, but Paul's quite busy on what he does on his own horses, but this horse had that fetlock, as I said, the chip taken out, so we didn't want to just keep pounding him on the hard ground. So Paul done me a favour and had him there for a few weeks, give him a couple of gallops in his sand track. So I sort of knew where the horse would be when I took him to the jump outs, and it being from the sand myself, he was exactly where I thought he would be.
Yeah.
So interesting to watch him, and as I said, it's the best he's moved for a couple of years. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's the Bobby Lewis on Saturday. Good on you, mate. We appreciate. Yes,
I could throw him in the 1400. I made my mind up yet.
All right, then. I reckon that mine might be changed a few occasions before Saturday. Yeah, the 1400 race 6. He's going to carry 61.5. Hey, thanks, mate. You're a good man, Lindsay. Good luck today, and especially it's great to see the old boy back to Tuvalu on Saturday.
Yeah, giddy up.
Giddy up. There's the great man, Lindsay Smith. Let's take a break. We'll come back and continue on Bag of Tips. Matty Dunn will join us to go through his runners there today at Grafton.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
This is Bag of Tips on this Tuesday morning. Great to have your company here on SEN Track and RSN on this Tuesday morning. It's 11:23. Matty Dunn's always hard to beat wherever he goes with his horses, but especially in the northern part of New South Wales. And he's got a pretty handy team engaged there at Grafton this afternoon. Good morning to you, Matt. Thanks for your time.
Morning, how are you?
Good, thanks, mate. Celebrity talk on debut. What can you tell us about this galloper and the maiden over the 1,000?
Probably need the day out. I think we'll see good improvement after today. Just maybe a little bit timid, etc. That only sort of sort itself out with racing, but certainly a fair share of talent, drawn a good gate. You know, we can posse up close to the speed. She's an each-way chance, but certainly improving what she does.
Deep Stealth had a good preparation last time. She's first up today, this daughter of Deep Field. Your expectations with her?
I think she'll go very well. She was, when she won her maiden first up for me, she beat a couple of nice horses that day that went on to pretty good. So she's clearly very good fresh. Both trials were sort of got what we expected, didn't sort of go to either of trials hoping to sort of break any world records, just to sort of keep it ticking over. She's not very big and she doesn't need huge amounts of work to get up to the mark. So look, I think she's improved a little bit on last prep from what I've seen so far this time. Again, she'll run well.
You got two strong chances in race 5. Foxy Artist on debut and Warrior Bay that has had some race experience on his side. Your expectations with those two gallopers?
Foxy Artist, the gate's a problem, so I don't really want to be too positive on him. Stay out, so we're going to have to probably ride him a bit soft and hope for a bit of luck. Warrior Bay, however, he's drawn a slightly better gate, and he's, as you say, he's had more experience, and I think he's the pick of those two.
So that's a good push there, around $5 there for Warrior Bay. Glam was impressive first up, this daughter of Star Turn on a heavy track. Can she go on with it now in a benchmark 58 on the soft 5?
I think so. I had her in Brisbane last week, and she's doing a tricky gate, so I decided not to run her, and that's sort of what I think of her. I think she's probably a Saturday grade 3-year-old at Brisbane level, so if you can sort of take a line through that way of thinking, then obviously she fits into a 58 at Grafton pretty well. Taking on the older horses very early in the season makes me a bit nervous sometimes, but look, she was impressive when she won. She got back when we were hoping to be on speed, hoping she might find herself a bit closer today, so she's probably just about my best today. All
right, then. Good push for race 6, number 12, Glam. Our Silver Lighting, she gets a claim for Jet Newman in the last, and Bandash is the horse to beat according to the market in race 7.
Yeah, Bandash is a bit tricky. He's hard to catch and he mixes things up a bit, so I'd probably lean toward Our Silver Lighting in that race. She's coming off an arrhythmia last start. And that's the reason she was sort of beaten so far. But, you know, she sort of converted back pretty quickly without any help from any vets or anything like that. So that's always a good sign. And lots of horses race very well. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know if there's any science behind it or not, but coming off an arrhythmia, their next start's often very good. And she's done very well since that race. I went to that day thinking she'd go there and win, and obviously when that went wrong, they don't run well, but she's the pick of those two in the last for sure.
He's Our Silver Lighting's a great each way price, and you're right. I'd love to see it in the form guide. Horses that have coming off heart fibrillations. It doesn't matter what code it is. It's the thoroughbred or standard bred codes. They seem to jump out of the ground. And as you point out, we don't know why, but it's a good formula to success. A few questions coming through, mate. Sea King, when do we get to see him?
Sea King will be back. He's obviously had a long period of rehab. He'll be back with me in about a month.
Okay, beautiful. Who's your best Kosciuszko chance?
Look, I mean, it's between Without Parallel and Golden Decade. I mean, they're two completely different form lines and two completely different horses. Golden Decade's had the experience. He's a winner of 8, $500,000 in prize money, whereas Whereas with our parallels, the younger horse on the scene, and she was impressive when she won. And I think she was impressive last start at benchmark level in Sydney as well. We just sort of ended up going a little bit too quick up front. She stuck on well. So either one of those two, if they can both get in or one of them get in, they'll be making their presence felt for sure.
Beautiful, Matty. So Glam the best today, race 6, number 12 at Grafton. We appreciate your time.
Pleasure, thank you.
There's Matty Dunn. Sammy Hyland joins us. He'll be on trackside alongside his great mate Campbell Brown this afternoon on SEN Track. And he's with us now. G'day, Sammy.
Hello, Gareth. How long since I haven't spoken to you? So long.
Where have you been? We might have to get you back on Giddy Up. What about this afternoon? Do you like anything? Where do we start with your specials?
Well, let's go to Warrnambool.
Yes.
Race 6, number 5, Wolf 21. Now, this is owned by a couple of big hitters in Mark Walsh, a.k.a. the Irish Mafia.
Yes.
He is on his way down there on the train, and that would suggest that he's looking forward to drinking winner's piss today, isn't he? And he's going to be coming home on the train tomorrow. So, I think they're expecting this horse to run pretty well. Max Sang from Mahjong also in this horse. And, I tell you what, it's been going all right. It's
you know something, don't you? Oh, we talked to Shane Jackson today.
Well. What did Shane Jackson say?
He said all of his horses have got great chances. He probably leaned towards the one and the last is his best there, the favourite. And Burger's son that was good the other day. But I like, because you would know, Sammy, you would know. So that's a good push.
It's the concern with this horse is heavy 8, isn't it? That'll be a bit of a worry because he won on good track. He's trialled up all right on soft ground. But 10 mils of rain on Sunday. If they think they're going to get an upgrade, I'm going to say they're dreaming. So it'll be a genuine heavy track.
Yes.
And but this horse, I'll tell you what, he's a nice enough horse and he'll be rounding the race off. So wherever he is in the run, he'll finish well. And, hopefully it's in front. So we will go race 6, number 5, Wolf 21. Then we go to Queanbeyan. And we are going to race 6, number 3, Aaron Sion. Rebecca Bronet Prague on board, takes 1.5 kilos off. Now, this horse has been a little bit out of form this preparation, but it's been sound enough. And it's been going around on wet ground and genuine soft tracks. And I think getting back on good ground today will be the key. She's been a winner at Queanbeyan before, this mare. And, I just reckon it's better runs this preparation has been on the better ground. And I think getting on the good ground, where it's 1-4, that'll be the key to it winning. So you can get it at about $8, I reckon it was, or $10. Grafton, race 2, number 1, Brookheimer, for the Adam Campton team. This was sound enough in its runs last time round. It down south, obviously in Melbourne. It had its first couple of runs in city races at Pakenham. So, they must have had some sort of an opinion of it. And it was honest enough right the way through. I mean, this will be significantly easier. There are a bunch of goats in this. So race 2, number 1, Brookheimer. You can get it at $3.10. And then we go to Townsville, and we are going race 6, number 2, Better Be Slick. And you love to be slick, Gary, and I tell you what, I think this can go 2 in a row. 1,400, went round in a couple of short ones early and did enough at Cairns, and then one last time round getting to the 12.50. Gets to 1,400 today. It'll be even better again at 1,400. So Carl Zechner on board. I think he can get the money. So at Warrnambool, we go race 6, number 5. Queanbeyan, race 6, number 3. Grafton, we go race 2, number 1. And Townsville, we go race 6, number 2. And guess what, Gareth?
Yes, Sammy.
I've done quaddies for every race meeting today. So make sure you tune in to SEN Trackside today. Campbell Brown and I, the Saint Wranglers, and we are going to tear it up this
Looking
afternoon.
forward to it. You can go to the Quaddie app to get your quaddies as well. So you just keep on dominating, Sammy. We appreciate your time.
On you go.
So our bet boost for Nessie and Track Get On, Mokeson back to 1,000 in race 4 at Warrnambool, getting $4 for that galloper. Campbell Brown, who'll be joining Sammy on SEN Track this afternoon, likes Waisaka, race 5, number 2 at Queanbeyan, race 2, number 1 in who's he like? Race 2, number 1, Gilmar. And at Grafton, race 3, number 5, So Kobe. And at Townsville, race 3, number 8, Blazero. So that's Campbell Brown's tips. Nordic Invader, race 1, number 3, the best at Townsville for Chris Nelson, thanks to Racing Queensland. Race 3, number 4, Going Nuclear. Race 6, number 10, Novella. And race 5, number 9, Ruby Chicks Each Way. And in the trots tonight, Darren Carroll likes race 4, number 4, Madge Egan. And race 8, number 8, High Flux. And Harness Racing New South Wales, the home of the Carnival of Cups, where Australian music royalty meets quality harness racing action. We'll just play one today, and we're going to Leeton tonight. Blake Jones usually dominates that particular meeting in New South Wales, and we'll play race 1, horse number 3, Little Cool, to get the job done there. Blake Jones and the gig. Time for the news. We'll come back with Facing the Breeze next.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. The temporary suspension of some parcels posted from Australia to the US is being lifted, with Australia Post to resume services later this month. Major changes for ANZ, with the bank announcing it'll be axing 3,500 positions by next September. France's Prime Minister has been ousted in a confidence vote, plunging the country into a fresh political crisis. And a Victorian couple is $20 million richer after realising a forgotten winning Powerball ticket had been pinned to their fridge since last week. Coming up next, SEN Sport. Heading up to half-time in the last match of NFL's Week 1. A short time ago, it was the Chicago Bears leading the Minnesota Vikings 7-3. Crows forward Josh Rochelli will try to prove he's overcome a knee injury, which has seen him miss the past few months ahead of Friday's semi-final against the Hawks. While with Kalshadir out, Hawks forward Mitch Lewis may return to take on Adelaide.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. Garrard's Horse and Hound, stocking the largest range at the best prices. Visit horseandhound.com.au. Live across Australia on SEN Track. This is Facing the Breeze with Gareth Hall.
Let's talk some harness racing. Thanks to Garrett's Horse and Hound to wrap up Giddy Up on a busy Tuesday morning. Garrett's Horse and Hound, the best range and prices on all equine essentials. Visit horseandhound.com.au. Anthony Butt, hello to you.
Yeah, how you going, Gareth?
And Adam Hamilton, g'day to you.
Morning, guys. Great to be with you, particularly after one of the most exhilarating nights of harness racing as an event that I've been to in many years, fellas.
So explain why, Adam.
Well, the crowd was phenomenal.
Yep.
Other than opening night at Menangle back in 2008, we've never seen a crowd anything like that. Way outdid the previous two. Eureka's has obliterated any Miracle Mile crowds in recent times, and it just had a tremendous atmosphere to it. You know, I love the slot factor to it. A lot of the slot owners had marquees of their own, huge gatherings of their own. There was that competitiveness to it. John Hawkes and all of his troops, Zach Lloyd, Tyler Schiller, Tommy Berry, Michael and Wayne, brought some real star power to it as well. and just the energy. I mean, the racing was great on the night, set the tone by that ferociously competitive Len Smith, which we expected it would be, albeit we didn't expect a result. But it was genuinely a night to treasure. And for me, fortunate enough to have lived through, at least in the early part of my career, some of the glory days of the sport, it took me back to those glory days.
Ants, what do you make of it from afar?
No, I thought it was fantastic, Gareth. Yeah. I agree with Adam. Obviously, I wasn't there, but seeing that, on the TV coverage and all the social media, and it looked a fantastic night. And as Adam said, it brought us back to how we, used to be in, years ago in the Moonee Valley days and Harold Park days, that kind of thing. So, it's achieved its goal of doing that and sort of getting harness racing outside of the bubble.
I seen it in the Greyhounds. The Phoenix is the biggest night in the Greyhound world, especially from a crowd point of view and a vibe. And it sounds like the Eureka's doing just that, Adam. We had a chat to Robert Watson before he won the Eureka this year, teaming up with Emma Stewart. He said he probably still wouldn't have any horses if it wasn't for the Eureka. So there's that side of the argument. There's some negativity, however, regarding how this race is funded. Regarding the stallion tax, Robbie Watson says that we've been giving too much money to the Americans anyway, so we need to tax their horses. But it sounds like they're taxing the breeder in this country. So what's your take on all of this? Will we still have the Eureka the way it is this time next year?
Well, if we don't protect this event, we might as well start the clock ticking on when the sport finishes. Yeah. If we don't have huge events that keep us relevant in the mainstream, then essentially we're starting the decline to the bottom. So I'm not, there's a lot of complex issues to this, and maybe the funding model does need to be tweaked. And the most important thing is all of this is being considered and weighed up. But what I don't like is the extreme negativity around the funding, which belittles this event. Anyone who finds any negative in this event should just get out of the sport, Gareth.
Ants?
No, I agree to a certain extent. When they first put on the stallion tax, it was great in theory. All that money going back to the American stallion owners was going to be taxed, but they just shifted it to the broodmare owners in Australia. So it probably hasn't worked as well as they would have hoped, in that regard. But, I think it's imperative that the Eureka remains in its current form. And, I think the funding can be tweaked. There's, other ways we can, fund it. And, it might be several different ways. And, but it's vitally important that it stays. And, the powers that be have just got to find a way to keep a few people happy. And, but it's such a great event. It's like the end of the Minions, they're just crucial to our sport.
I agree. Just jumping in there, Gareth. The industry, and I mean the entire industry, needs to take responsibility for some of these events. You can't just fire shots at Harness Racing Australia or individual states. The industry has got to protect these marquee events. So is the funding model right? The smarter minds than me will know. Clearly, the broader view is it needs revisiting. But whatever happens, like this belief that the industry shouldn't actually fund these events is just wrong, because they do with Breeders' Crowns, they do with Vic Breds, they do with all New South Wales and state bred series. American racing, Ants, is built off futurity racing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the owners in America, they just pay huge amounts, Adam, for, to stake their horses into the big 2 and 3 year old races, and that's how they can race for so much money. But it's virtually a sweepstake, so it's not a whole lot different to what we're doing. But as Adam said, it's such a big event now, and it's growing every year. And to see people like John Hawkes and all the the top jockeys there, and I read a comment from Zach Lloyd, first time he'd been to the trots, but he just loved it. So, things like that, it just does so much good.
Yeah, hopefully. I love the Eureka. I think it's great for the sport. Slot racing is a format that you can definitely market the sport like no other race. and the Eureka, I reckon anyway, the coverage outside the harness racing bubble that it was able to generate is why it needs to stay. I agree with you there, Adam. And everyone can work out how you fund it and get on the same page and work together and do your job basically and work out a better way that is beneficial for the game that we all love. Will it be at Menangle next year or Albion Park, Adam?
Gee, I would like to see it stay at Menangle.
Yes.
Simply because anytime you move anything, you risk undoing it. Like, I do think it's, you don't just move an event and carry the same momentum with it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of issues that go with that. Will TAB keep sponsoring it? That's $1 million question. They've pulled out of so many other similar things.
Yeah.
And if they don't, it creates a real funding issue as far as Menangle hosting it. So, that one's pretty close to my heart, and I have no idea where that'll land. But I think the best outcome for the event is for it to stay at Menangle and build on the momentum of the last 3 years, Gareth.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and have a chat about the Lensmith Mile, because what a race that was. They went 147 and change, and a horse at SP at 126 to 1 was successful in See Your Art.
Caulfield comes alive with Group 1 racing at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets just $20 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Adam Hamilton and Anthony Butt with me. Adam, before we let you go, it's hard to believe that CU Art was able to go 147 and a half to win a Len Smith Mile. What a horse he's been.
We thought it would be a hotly contested race, and it was. I don't think anyone predicted CU Art. I mean, it's remarkable to think he ran third in an Dominion only 7 weeks earlier, and he was a $126 outsider from barrier 1. But what a terrific story for Josh Gallagher. Caused that massive upset in 2022 on Bonsell Benjamin in the Inter Dominion at Menangle. And one that runs even deeper for him, the See Your Art story. They bought the horse for 25 grand. He's now won 150 grand. He and his wife, Alicia, and he teamed up with Robbie and Kerry Ann Morris, who've not only changed his career, but to be honest, they've changed his life, this young guy. So emotions ran pretty high in that one. I thought Swayze was never going to be suited by the map. No. He looked gone at the 400. 50 metres after the line, he was nearly back in front again. So you couldn't be critical of his performance at all. It was an incredible run from Swayze, and he looks right on target for the Victoria Cup. Leap to Fame will trial in 2 weeks from today, Gareth, so you can put a ring around that.
I would have loved to have seen Leap to Fame in that race, because I don't know what he would have been doing out wide, how quick he would have had to go on to have won. He probably would have won, most likely, but it would have been fun to watch anyway. It was...
Well, the mile races, they're just level as the mile races, aren't they? We see it time and time again, These two great horses are nigh on unbeatable at 2,200 or further. But in the sprint races, the other horses can get them, and we saw that again on the weekend.
Good on you, Adam. We've got to let you go. But, great night of harness racing. And well done to Emma Stewart. Four out of the top 5 home there in the Eureka, which is some training performance.
Yeah, and it meant the world. It meant the world to her. It was as emotional and as excited as I've seen her at a race meeting, and it was great to see her there on Saturday night as well. So 3 Eurekas. She's had a win, a second and third year 2, and then a first and a second in year 3. So it's been some sort of dominance, but don't let that overshadow the fact that everyone can play a role in the race. Might be big name trainers winning, but there's certainly a lot of, there's a lot of soul of the earth harness people involved in the ownership and the slots, Gareth.
Good on you, Adam. Thanks for that. We'll let you go. What did you make of the Len Smith Mile, Ants?
Yeah, it was a good race, Gareth, wasn't it? Yeah, agree with Adam, great story with Josh and Alicia buying the horse and, 25 grand. I think might have been won close to 250 now since then. So, Josh is a great young guy, works hard and really good driver, and great to see young people like that, kick a goal.
Yeah, 100%. Any winners coming up for us, Ants?
Saturday night I've got I Choose You in the Nutrient final. He was pretty good the other night in the heat, so I think he'll take a bit of beating with half a draw. Yeah.
I Chose You. So we'll find out those draws pretty shortly, won't we? They might be out now. They'll be out soon.
They're probably out.
Yeah.
They're probably normally about 11:30, so they're probably out. But I've been too busy talking to you, Gareth.
Yeah,
a lot.
We appreciate that, mate. We're going to do a big Facing the Breeze where we talk to Toby McKinnon from Harness Racing Australia. We're going to open up the lines and people can ask questions about anything they want. So it's going to be a bit of fun. It'll be interesting anyway, Ant. So we might even get you involved.
Yeah, well, I think Toby might need the bulletproof suit on, but that's his job. You got to answer the questions from the people on the ground.
He wanted to do it, so I said, all right, then I'll arrange for that to happen. So, it'll be an interesting hour anyway. That'll be next Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Good on you, mate.
Thanks, Gareth.
There's Anthony Butt, and that is Facing the Breeze. We'll take a break and we'll come back and wrap up a busy Giddy Up this Tuesday.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, Gareth Hall with you. Now, Harness Racing New South Wales have just put out one hell of a video breaking Carnival of Cups news. So they've just announced that Wagga, Newcastle, Bathurst, Albury and Penrith will be the venues for the Carnival of Cups. It was such a success last year. So a couple of new tracks and some bigger tracks as well. I wonder if Swayze will go for that $1 million bonus. It is back on. He won an extra $500,000 last year by winning 4 of the Carnival of Cups. He just went down at Albury, of course. Albury will be hosting it again. But that is terrific news. And the promo to it with Josh Gallagher, Robbie Morris and Morris Jr. is absolutely sensational. So I highly recommend you have a look at that. Archie Morris, he was the best supporting actor. His old man was, if he doesn't win a Logies for that, I'll give up. Thanks for your company. I'll be back tomorrow morning from 8.
I'm Amy Drew with SEN News. A landmark security deal between Australia and Vanuatu is not expected to be signed off today, despite Anthony Albanese visiting the Pacific nation. There has been some last-minute hurdles with the agreement. It's unclear exactly what is holding it up, but there's suggestions of pressure from China. Anthony Albanese has told the ABC discussions with local leaders will continue.
What we will do is to progress it today, to have that conversation. I look forward to doing it.
A teenage girl has